Yo, 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 how we all doing? How we all doing?
Hello, folks.
This is exciting. Make sure you guys can hear us, see us. Everything looks good there. We'll wait a couple minutes just to make sure.
Right. Yeah. Please let us know how the sound quality is. Like, are we
Yeah,
the same volume?
yeah.
Is there
Always,
too much bass?
yeah,
Are
too
we
much
killing your
bass.
subwoofer? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, we try to talk a little higher pitched if necessary. Also, while we're waiting here, if you guys want to share where you're watching from and what your page builder is, preferred page builder is in the chat, we'd love to know that because we'll get into it, but that's kind of what this is all about. This isn't about really one specific page builder. It's about a bunch. So hopefully you guys are, hopefully we have
Thanks,
a
Michael.
diverse audience of page builder peeps. Sound is good. Love that. Love that. Thank you. Good morning to you, Trent Digital.
Hello, Trent.
Great to see y'all.
Tell us, what's your page builder?
Yeah, we would love to know. Would love to know.
And your social insurance number.
Yeah, Beaver Builder since about 2017. However, recently switched to Bricks.
Okay,
Nice.
cool.
Very nice.
Hey, Paul.
Ireland. Paul. Also, by way of introduction, obviously you guys might know me, Mark Szymanski. This is Maddie Eastwood joining me today. Thank you so much, good sir.
Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah.
This is a pleasure and hopefully one of many to come.
Hell yeah.
We'll find out.
We'll see if you guys love
Find
it.
out today. If everybody leaves in 10 minutes, then perhaps not.
It's definitely gonna be an experience. Yeah, I mean, kind of we'll dive into it here in a sec, but this is probably gonna be a long one. So if you have to step out, we totally understand. You probably have other things to do, like building websites for clients and such. But we anticipate this kind of being like a 2+ hour endeavor here because we got a lot to go through, and we do think there's gonna be a lot of value. But it'll be available as a live replay when we're all done here. So if you want to go back and check it out, cool. Okay.
Should we run the guys through what's going to happen today?
100%. Yeah, I was just going to say this is. I want to give a little bit of context. I'm going to kick it over to you, Maddie. So,
Perfect.
A couple of weeks ago, at this point, me and Maddie have been going back and forth. A couple different meetings. He approached me because we're in similar spheres and everything like that. And we've talked online, but literally, I want to say less than 2 weeks ago was the first time we spoke. Right? Like this is like a very normal thing for internet friends, right? So he reached out to me and he's like, "Hey, Mark, I have this really cool idea. We could do it on your channel, da da da." And I immediately thought is a great idea, like bridge builders and the concept. I'll let Maddie kind of explain it, but just again, everything you've seen kind of in our lead up to this, there's a lot of stuff going on back and forth with different page building communities, things like that, stuff that we'll actually talk about here and before we get started building. But I just want to make everything. This is Maddie's idea. I'm all on board with it. I think it's a fantastic idea. I just want to give him credit where credit is due here. We're just doing it here because I have the live set up currently, and Maddie is building his brand as well. So, yes, good sir. Let the people know exactly what the origin of all this was.
Right. Yeah. So perhaps I'll run you guys through the agenda. Oh yeah. By the way, thanks for posting. So I see a bunch of people here came from Beaver Builder. A lot are now on Bricks. Is it everybody so far? Yeah. Yeah. Bricks. Awesome. It's a Bricks community.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing is, we're going to run you through the mission of this project. Mark started with that as well. And we're gonna talk a little bit about how the promo for this went, because that was quite interesting, an interesting experience for us already. I'm going to talk about the framework of this project, introduce ourselves, and that's probably going to take up the first 1.5 hours. And then, but we're going to talk about our page building journeys. How did we get to where we are now? We're both Bricks builders now, but we came from different builders. And then we're going to start with building a website in Beaver Builder. After that, Elementor, and after that, Bricks. We're thinking we should take at least 30 minutes per builders to really just show off a little bit of our workflows. How did we used to work in the different builders, and how do we build now? And then we're going to wrap it up.
For sure, yeah, and a couple things to add in there. One is that if you guys haven't seen Jamie Marsland's challenge show yet, the 30 minutes, I will put a link here to that in the chat. I believe I believe that's the upcoming one, but they already did one, and that's a fantastic concept. A little bit different than obviously what we're doing here. We're not going for speed or anything. Ours is more of looking at the different workflows. And again, like Maddie said, he came from Beaver Builder and now is at Bricks, and I came from Elementor and now I'm at Bricks. That's just the one we landed on, but that doesn't mean that like there's no place for these other builders. And we want to expand this to more. So if you have like, we're looking at Breakdance, Oxygen, like all these other ones, like, and we don't know those builders, so we need you guys, right? So if you want to come on here and you want to do similar thing that you see today, hit us up, okay? But to talk about like more about what we're trying to do here is we're talking about like we're trying to create like more of a dialogue and the discovery of like actually seeing the things in action. Because again, Maddie and I have had agencies where we did make websites and make money off of these other builders, right? In building websites in Elementor and Beaver Builder and things like that. That being said, because we're Bricks users now, our workflows are entirely different. Our tool sets are entirely different. And we're kind of taking a step, into the past here and like essentially for us and kind of seeing what it would be like to build the same exact website in Elementor, Beaver Builder, and Bricks and what that is like. And I can tell you from my experience, and I think Maddie has kind of echoed it to me before we went live, it's very different. Like it's really interesting to see the differences in workflows, pros, cons, both ways. And I hope that's kind of our idea here, is just to kind of literally give you what it looks like rather than just like hearing it of what it looks like. Because if you've never used these tools, you don't really actually know what it's like. So that's kind of just the whole impetus for it. But we'd love to hear your thoughts. We'd love to hear again what page builders you guys are using, your experience has been like, and all that sort of stuff. So
that's the second part of this idea, or like the second tenet that we have with this. We want to show off the different workflows and different builders, A, and B, we want to engender a dialogue. We want to get people together because we feel like there's a lot of animosity between page builder communities. Mm-hmm. My builder is the best, so screw you. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there's probably objectively things to be said for one builder versus the other, but there's people still making money on Beaver Builder, Elementor, etc., and it's going to stay that way for a while. Mm-hmm. So instead of just saying my shit's the best and yours just doesn't register, mm-hmm. why don't we look at each other's workflows, see how people are doing things, and then talk about it? Just have conversations, bring people together, and celebrate the community aspect of WordPress a little more than we see it being celebrated at the moment. Because sure. It's kind of like, isn't WordPress supposed to be a community? And then why are people fighting so much? I'm not really sure why. And I hope we can sort of move in a different direction here with this stream and get people together. That's why also on future streams, not just today, we want to have at least, or ideally always, 3 builders that we're showing off with 3 professionals who use them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's the idea.
100%. Yeah. And that's the goal. We'll see if it happens or not. Right.
Right. Exactly.
We need to make mention of this because it goes in line exactly with what Maddie said. So we promoted this podcast but this live stream as much as possible in different building communities. Right. And there's some nuance here, but again, I love digging into this stuff because I love to see like kind of how it goes and everything. We have some notes from the different groups that we posted this post in, right? We posted it on our own channels, but we also posted it in the groups. And for certain ones, we understand, but let me just go through this list. Beaver Builder, who is featured in this stream today, is on the thumbnail, deleted the post from their community.
It was up for a couple of hours though.
Yes. But ultimately got deleted. So that's kind of interesting. Now, again, before I also need to preface that, again, self-promotion, I understand if you're going to use that as like a reason in these groups, totally get that. But I mean, like, we are showing off your product. So like, I'm not saying these are right or wrong. I'm just giving you the facts of what happened. So you can make your own judgment there. Elementor also deleted the post.
Immediately. It was the first one to delete it.
Immediately. Bricks, extremely well received. You could absolutely make an argument that like we're more in the Bricks community.
Oh shit, Ruben's here. We're fucked. Hello, Ruben.
Oh man, Isaac. I don't know if we're going to be doing that today. Maybe in a future stream. No.
Probably next time.
We'll see. We need somebody.
Elementor, Gutenberg.
Put some respect on Breakdance next time, Ruben. I told you. I told you.
I thought you wanted us to leave it alone. You need to make up your mind, man.
Yeah. Get it out your mouth or respect it. One of the two.
Right.
We'll see. We'll see how the stream goes there. Appreciate you guys stopping in. With the list thing, again, back to the bricks. You could make an argument that like we're in the bricks community, but people don't like know us well. Like we had questions like, do you guys even build in bricks? So we'll just leave that one there. But it was well received, stayed up, had some good engagement. Divi deleted it, kind of understand. But at the same time, like we're not like just we weren't showing off Divi, we weren't showing off Oxygen. They both deleted him. Totally get it. I'm just saying, what the way I interpret that could be different. Is that doesn't foster a conversation, and I get it. Those are products. They want to make money. They don't even really want you to know about other page builders. Probably, I kind of get that. But I'm just saying that this is not the topic of today's stream. We could probably talk about that at length. But it's more of like, are we pushing the whole platform forward and we want to create some sort of synergy, or like, this product's good for this product's good for that, or do we not want to do that? Because there's a lot of options out there, and it's somebody's job to kind of foster a conversation. And that's part of, again, just kind of going back to what we're talking about here. The last one is breakdance. Ruben in the chat. They kept the post up. They were a little mean though, I will have to say.
Respect to the bots.
Maddie posted
keeping
that.
It up.
Yeah, they tore him up a little bit. So they do not like bricks or any.
I just came from therapy.
Yeah, so it was a little interesting. If you're in the breakdance community, you can kind of see that. But I was really shocked by that. People were pretty hostile, like directly about that. So that was kind of interesting because that's not exactly what I expected there. So that was another interesting thing. But all of that out of the way, just want to give you the context there. We're going to dive into this, and I think the one thing that maybe we should go over quickly, or maybe we could take an hour and a half, depending on Maddie, what is your background so people know kind of like the
exactly
high level?
It's also just a thought that I had for the introduction. Nobody here is a be all end all. Mm-hmm. Nobody here is Kevin. We all put on our pants one leg at a time. So we're going to show off. I want to offer promotion on your channel, viewers, followers. The price is low. All right, awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, that's why we want to show off first our workflows, but also in future episodes, also other workflows, because we can all learn from each other. So who am I? Well, my name's Matt. I'm German. I was born in 1980. I started with HTML and CSS in 1999. Actually, I learned it in school. And I built websites for fun, just as a hobby, using Dreamweaver. Many people will probably remember that. I switched to WordPress in 2007 and built more websites for fun with that. There was, give me a shout out if you remember the Atahualpa theme. If anybody knows what that is, just post a thumbs up or something. It was around up until 2014, 15-ish. It was one of the most used themes on WordPress. It got like 1 million installs. And it was fun because it had over 200 settings, and then it had a big empty field where you could put all your CSS. And I was like, holy shit, I can do whatever I want with this theme. So I ended up installing a plugin that disabled the visual part of the old classic editor, so I could just put straight up HTML code into the classic editor, and then I used the theme to write CSS. And that's how I made websites for a while. So I basically hand-coded them, except I did it in WordPress. And then I switched to Beaver Builder in 2016 when I realized, wait, I can actually build a website on the front end. I can just click it together. That's insane. And I can do parallax, and I can do these flip boxes. Holy shit. Then I used Beaver Builder until like June 2022, pretty much up until Oxygen shot themselves in the foot. Yeah. I bought Oxygen. I used it for a few weeks, and then Breakdance got released, and the whole thing went belly up a little, and everybody was talking about Bricks. So I was like, let me try that. And yeah, since then I've been on Bricks. I started doing this professionally in late 2015 on Beaver Builder. And I'm still building websites professionally today. I'm full-time employed in a small advertising agency, and I'm doing it as a side hustle as well because it's so much fun. And the other things I bring to the table are copywriting, because I worked 8 years as a journalist. I studied German and English, and photography, which also has always been a hobby, but also I started doing it professionally when I lived in Montreal from 2008 to 2018. And that's pretty much it. That's
quite the resume. Quite the
Thank
resume.
you.
Nice. Yeah. So Maddie's obviously well decorated, well experienced, probably far more beyond me, actually. But for, you know, some of you guys might know my kind of background, but high level is that I started Find a Tech, my agency, in 2017, 2018 area. And it was kind of a side hustle for a little bit as I was getting out of the corporate gig. And then obviously like pandemic times and all that sort of stuff, you know, worked through that. And then ultimately I became like, I would say like absolutely full-time, no other income in 2023 was my very first year. So we're doing good, I guess. You know, we're heading in the right direction. Obviously, I like to make this content on here. I like to bring on other people. I love the WordPress community. I love the people in the WordPress community. I've learned so much in the last 6 months from actually being more of an active member in this, you know, whether it's page builders, core stuff. Like there's just a lot of really good people here. There's a lot of really good ideas. Sometimes ideas are different from one another. And we're always having these kind of like, you know, almost like family fights, I think are good to a certain degree. But at the end of the day, I do think we all need to take a step back, and something like this where we can kind of see what other people are doing, right? Like take a peek behind the curtain at these other builders like we're doing today and kind of see, you know, what is really what life is like over there. And that's kind of, again, part of our goal with this video and future videos here. But I want to get right into it, Maddie. I think the people are waiting. I think they're excited. I think we've chatted. We could talk about ourselves for days, but I think the big thing that everybody's wondering though is what page of what website are we going to rebuild today, Maddie?
Should we do some sort of drum roll, or should we play one?
I don't have that queued up, but I wish I did.
Okay.
And should I preface this with this was Maddie's idea?
It was totally Maddie's idea.
You good? I'm going to switch over to yours.
Yeah, go ahead, switch over to,
All right.
To my screen. Okay, so please don't go nuts. Please spare us. Please don't hit us. We're rebuilding Taylor Swift's website.
Yeah, my wife actually might watch this stream, like the first one ever. She's
okay. See, there you go.
Yeah.
I picked that one. I basically just punched in a bunch of things that interested me, and I do enjoy Taylor Swift's music. Among 1,100 other CDs that I have, so I also listen to Dream Theater. Don't hit me. And she her website is actually not. It's not the most professionally built website. It looks nice. They had some nice design sensibilities here, and there's just enough here to pose a little bit of a challenge here and there, like this line. How do you build that line? How do you make this hover effect, right? And yeah, if we get that far, how do you make these boxes? Yeah. Looking at the DOM, it seems like they use Cadence to build this, which is a tool that I'm personally not familiar with.
It's cool that it's built in WordPress though. And
exactly, it's a WordPress site, and I'm pretty sure like for instance, these things here, they're just Cadence ready-made thingamabobs that you can just use, right? So good, but we're gonna, if we get that far, try to actually rebuild these things. And let's jump right into that. Let's not even waste any time. So I'm going to close this, and we are in Beaver Builder land.
Yeah. So this is Maddie, you can keep going kind of in the background and just sure. But at a high level here, I'll kind of explain as you kind of fully get set up. So again, we're doing Beaver Builder, which I need to put the little logo here on. And this is the Beaver Builder portion of this stream. Okay. So Maddie is familiar with Beaver Builder. Again, that's where he came from. I am learning along with you guys, and if you guys have questions, ask questions in the chat. I will be asking questions for certain as we try to rebuild this thing with Beaver Builder. Maddie will explain what he's doing, but then he's going to build it and kind of see if there's any struggles, pros, cons of using Beaver Builder to build something like this. And then we'll switch over to me, and I'll do the same with Elementor. and then Maddie will spearhead the bricks one as well, and we'll kind of like a little bit of collaboration there, obviously. But that'll be kind of the concept there. So if you have any questions about the tools that we're using, the way that we're building, anything like that, we'll try to provide as much context as possible, but we don't want to be the only ones just talking here necessarily.
That's right.
This is a
so
dialogue.
don't hesitate to jump in, leave your comments in the chat. If you have experience with Beaver Builder, feel free to chime in. How would you do this? How would you go about it?
Yeah. We are not the best. We're not claiming to be the best Beaver Builder, Elementor, or Bricks users. We are just people that have used these things to a reasonable extent, and these are just how we would navigate this. And the last thing there is, the other thing is, there may be people watching that haven't used Beaver Builder, but maybe like are thinking about it, right? Well, that would be, I feel like this is a very good resource, because they don't know what to expect. And we are kind of looking at it. Yeah, I mean, they don't know what to expect. So like, we're kind of in here being like, this is how we would have done it, especially at the time we were using Beaver Builder, before bricks, so that's kind of more of the concept there. So Maddie, what's going on here on the high level so far? What are you seeing?
So I'm going to start off by showing you some of the groundwork that I laid in. So I'm using Beaver Builder together with the Generate Press theme. I have the pro version of Generate Press. Also, we're showing off the work environments that we have. So it's basically Beaver Builder plus ultimate add-ons for Beaver Builder, the Generate Press theme, and I think that's pretty much it. That's basically my blueprint.
Okay.
And we can look through the plugins in a moment as well.
And Beaver Builder, it's important to note, like, because everyone's different. Beaver Builder is a plugin, right? And Beaver Builder is right. Pro as well.
Yeah.
They're pro, and then you said you use Generate Press for your theme.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So the first thing I did was I looked up what font they're using. Those are not Google fonts, but I found Google equivalents. So I went to the Google Web Fonts helper. I'm in Germany, so I need to be GDPR compliant, which means I can't just use the built-in Google Fonts function that Beaver Builder provides. I need to actually download the fonts and self-host them. So I'm pretty sure everybody here knows the Google Web Fonts helper. Later on, we're going to talk about another tool to get fonts for bricks that I think is superior. But yeah, I basically downloaded the fonts, and then I went to, where are we? Edit themes. I went to the child theme style.css, and I put all the CSS shit in here. Right. So that's how I loaded the fonts, and then in the customizer, I haven't put it in yet, but yeah, the font needs to then go there. We'll do that. We'll not do that now because it's just going to waste time. So you get the idea, right?
Is this something that you have to do with Beaver Builder too? Like they don't have a font manager type thing almost?
There's no font manager in it, no. So this is the best way.
Okay.
Oh, GDPR compliance tutorials. I wouldn't know. No, I don't know. What I did is I just keep reading blogs of like eRecht24 and like there's different portals that just spread the news about GDPR compliance.
Yeah, put that on your list, Maddie. A GDPR course, compliance course.
That sounds like a good idea. Yeah. Next time, perhaps Michael knows something. Michael, feel free to chime in if you know something I don't. But I don't think I ever took any specific classes. I just read blogs and Google stuff mostly. So yeah. So the fonts go here, and then Beaver Builder only recently actually introduced. Now I need to. I have it open here. If you press Control G, you go to the global styles, and then you can put in colors actually. So these are the three main colors from TaylorSwift.com. And you can even copy them, and they copy a variable to the clipboard, right? Like this is global fill, right? So that's very nice. I don't think variables worked. I think variables just recently started working, because up till 2022, I don't remember using variables in Beaver Builder. So I set the colors here. And now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to build the header, because this header is not something you can just do in In GeneratePress has its has a header where you can just decide, do I want the logo on the left or right, or like do I want something in the center? But it's all pretty much predefined. And if you want to build something more custom like this, you need to do it yourself.
Got it. But to make that point though, you're using GeneratePress for the theme, but you could use that for some of the parts, I guess, or whatever the site, like the header and the footer. But Beaver Builder does have a header and footer builder. Like you can make those.
Here's the thing. It doesn't really have that, but there's an add-on product called Beaver Themer that probably does, which I never bought, but when it came out, people were pretty excited about it.
Gotcha.
So that's probably something that would do it. Let's see. I can also, if I go to global settings, there's two global settings options. There's global settings and global styles, right? So if I go to global settings, that's where I can set up for rows. Rows are pretty much sections, except, not in the source code. I'm going to give the rows 30 pixel. You can use M and %, and that's pretty much it. So 30 pixels on the left and right, and about, I'm just spitballing here. So it's going to be 60 top and bottom, because if you look at this, it's give or take 60 pixels. And then here you can see the website sort of has a frame around it. So we got 30 pixels here, 30 pixels here, and then 20 pixels at the top. And that's pretty much what I want to have as a standard. So here we go. And now this row is also automatically adapting, which is nice. But then for the opening, oops, we don't need, wait, oh no, we're not in the opening. Never mind. We're building the header. Still, so the header is probably going to be, 20-ish. Top and bottom. So I open this row and I go to advanced. 20 at the top and bottom, and then 30 on the sides. Then we need, I want to build this with Flexbox. So I go to, instead of rows where I would expect to put containers and divs and shit like that, I go to modules and I put a box in. And if I were to put a box, like let's say I only want a box, right? Not a section, like it should be a section, and I just set it to flex. That's not something that Beaver Builder will allow me to do. Like it automatically creates a row and then puts the box inside it. So let's just delete my old row. And we're going to go back here. So this row is going to be full width. Content's going to be full width. And now I need to redo some of my work. It was kind of inefficient there. And then I have this box and I set it to be flex. I want it to be flex. I want I think that's pretty much all we need for now.
Is this how your workflow normally goes, where you do this before you add elements? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, actually back then it was like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Only in Bricks, only when I started using Bricks, I started just putting all the elements in and then tinkering with them. So I would put a photo here. That's going to be the logo. Yeah, sure. Why? Then I put another box in here next to the logo, which is going to be our first horizontal line. Then I put in a menu. There. And another box, which is going to be that line at the end. There's a line here.
Yeah.
Right. By the way, we started at around 10 minutes ago. So we got 20 to 30 minutes to go. Let's see how far we get. So wait, did I put the box in now or not? Let's see.
Yeah.
It doesn't show me, right?
Like
I don't see an outline here. But yeah, no, I didn't. Okay.
Interesting.
Never mind. Box. So there we go. Now I want this box to be flex grow 1. No, wait, no, not the children. This thing. It's probably here, sizing and placement. Grow. Yeah, now this grows to the full width. And I want the last box to be min width. Yeah, I don't know. Let's try 15 and see what happens. So now the jumpy way of doing this.
Hmm.
Well, first let's, just so this is done, let's put in the photo. So that's going to be the Taylor Swift logo.
There we go.
Right, and this is, I can only set a width. I don't have a height control for this, so the width is 110.
Interesting.
And now I would put a divider in here if I were a 2022 mat.
Yeah.
Which I am right now. So
which I am.
It's called separator. And we use, just the base thing. The primary color.
Okay, it's got global
height,
global color.
2. Width should be 100%, and then it just doesn't show up. So I don't know why. I don't see what's wrong. If you do the same thing in Bricks, it shows up. But yeah, so basically, problem number 1. I don't know.
Could it be a color issue real quick though? Like if you go back to that separator?
No, I don't think so. Let me publish this. Control P publishes, which is really nice. Now I press Control F5 here. Let's see if, perhaps it's just not showing because we're in the builder, but no. I'm going to show you what's happening. If I go in here, where did I land? Can see that it's a module, right? So that's the box. And then in here is another module, the separator. And you see that the width of that separator is 0, even though it's set to 100%. So I'm pretty sure it looks like a bug to me. And they're probably going to fix it at some point.
Could
but
you,
right now, this is not working.
For the time being, could you just like set a arbitrary value, like 100 or something, like just like some other pixel, like even a pixel width, like in the editor?
Yeah, let's try. I don't even know. Okay, let's see. Width. Yay. So with some CSS, you can probably fix that. Yeah. It's not ideal either.
Not super important. But
you can even see that the module itself, the box itself, is not extending to the logo. So we're going to waste time trying to fix this. This is how far I got when I built this, because obviously we all tried to build this before.
Yeah, we are not doing this completely blind. Nuts.
We just waste your time that way. Okay. Let's take a moment to look at the comments. Brandon, nice to come here. Thank you very much. Yes. Also, a quick shout out to Raquel, who's working with Divi. She actually contacted us beforehand and reached out and said, if you want Divi to promote this, let's talk. So we don't know yet, but it's great that you're probably listening right now. She said that she couldn't actually be in the chat, but she's probably listening. So thank you for that.
Yeah, we need a Divi builder.
Thanks, guys. We do need a Divi builder. If you guys know anybody, shout.
Yeah. Sweet.
Right. So what was I saying?
We had a broken separator.
Hey, Raquel.
Raquel. Raquel's there. Look.
Sweet.
Raquel. Thank you guys for joining in.
Okay, so the other thing I tried, and we'll try that real quick, the module box. I gave it a before. You know what? We'll do that later if there's time. So what I tried is I gave it a class. I gave that box a class. Where's the box here? See, I can't select the box either. It's now width 0, so I need to open this, which then covers up half the page, and then now I can select that box, right? So I gave it a class. I called it horizontal line, and then I tried to give that a before, and then basically place the before in there. But for some reason that didn't work out either. So not sure what's happening there. What else? Yeah, we've got the menu. Whoops, no.
Yeah, so there would be another separator on the other side too if we were doing it like that. But
there would be another separator, yeah, but let's not even go there. And with the menu, you just pick the menu you want. I think I prepared it, didn't I? Yeah. And then for these, I would just put a before on the a pseudo. Is it an element, pseudo element before on on the list items, and then just put a slash in there, because
Can
that's
you
what Taylor
does
has,
Divi
right?
give you the option in the menu element though to do a divider? Like even if
What do
it's
you
not a
mean?
slash?
Oh,
Like
like between? No, I don't think
okay,
that option exists
okay.
unless they change it at some point. Oh,
Separator.
yeah, they do. Show separators. Yes.
Okay, but they're probably just pipes.
Okay, the separator is just predefined,
Yeah.
so we can't just put slashes in
Okay.
there.
That's
Okay.
close though. I mean, I'm trying again, like my thought is, when we get to the Elementor side, and I know you're doing here with Beaver Builder as well. Like one of our things here is like we don't want to use CSS if we can avoid it, right? Like that's the
That's right.
idea.
The
Like
point of the builder is to not that you don't have to do that.
because we know you can do anything, right? Like it's the internet. Like you could do anything you want with HTML and CSS, basically, right? Like the stuff that we're trying to do. But if you're using Beaver Builder, or if you're using Elementor, or even if you're using Bricks, like you don't want to use CSS if you can avoid it. So that's our main goal. And then obviously there's ways to extend it with, I don't know, add-ons or just code, so whatever. But yeah, that's kind of the idea.
Yeah. There's a plugin for that. I'm sure we can all agree that that's a bullshit solution to anything, unless it's like an event calendar or something, or a form plugin. But yeah.
Right.
So in the absence of Beaver Themer, which would probably make all this much easier, what I'm using next is I have in GeneratePress, I can set up hooks, or it's called elements. And basically I can say I want a full width. I want every page that I create using Beaver, or that I create on this website, to only have content, right? So I can disable and enable different parts of the theme. And I can say, I don't want a site header, I don't want a mobile header, I don't want top bar, and I don't want the primary navigation because I just built that myself. So I'm disabling it. And I say, I want this to display on the entire website. Or I think, yeah, actually I made some exceptions here, but yeah.
Okay,
This is part of my blueprint.
I gotta jump in here though, and make sure that I understand this, because I think other people will probably be confused by this. What you just did there, those were settings of your theme.
In the theme, yeah. This is
Okay.
GeneratePress.
So this is a really important thing, because this is going to be way different than the Elementor way.
Oh yeah.
Beaver Builder, can you not manage those types of things with Beaver Builder from your understanding of the Beaver Builder tool?
With the tool itself, with the way I'm doing it, no. Beaver Builder has the Beaver theme that we already talked about, and it also has its own theme, the Beaver Builder theme, which I guess if you have all three of these tools, you can probably do a lot more than what I'm doing now, and you can probably do things a lot easier than I'm pulling them off now.
Okay, gotcha. So that's an important distinction for anybody that's
for sure.
Beaver side. Like there is maybe like an ecosystem around that, similar to how there is with Elementor. Do you know off the top of your head if the Beaver Builder theme is free?
No, it's all paid.
Oh, okay.
And I was young. I was young and had no money.
Yeah, I got you.
So now what I did is I disabled this. So if I press F5 now, it should be gone, right? But the tail is, why is it there? Yeah, no, of course it's there. So what I did before, you guys probably watched me do that. In Beaver Builder, I went to the row here and I saved it as a template. So now what I'm going to do is I delete the row here and I press Control P to publish. And now this page should be empty. And I'm adding a new element. Wait, I need a second. I'm going to open the Beaver Builder menu and I'm going to go to saved rows. And I'm going to copy the shortcode, right, of this particular template. So now I make a new element. It's going to be a hook. Create that. I'm going to put the shortcode in here, tell it to execute shortcodes. I want to hook it into generate before header. I'm going to call it custom header. And the display rules is I want this on the entire website. And now I publish this, and this is how I build my own custom navigation. I don't think that semantically this navigation is going to be anywhere near correct, but I might be wrong. One thing I forgot in the box that all this is in, the box element, I should have set it to vertically centered, which with Flexbox you can easily do, right? So that's it for the header. And now we go back in and we start building the actual website. So we're going to need And now let's do this by placing this stuff first and then doing a bunch of styling.
Yeah.
So I'd like to do this with grid first. Okay, so let's try grid. Again, this is fairly new in Beaver Builder. They didn't support grid up until I think February or something when 2.8 came out. So they're probably going to still improve this implementation, right? So this container is not going to have any padding, right? So I'm going to go to advanced here, link all this and say no padding. Then the inner thing, I don't want to use a regular column, which is what Beaver Builder automatically puts in there. I want to use, holy shit, Kevin's here. Hey, Kevin. Nice to see you, man.
Kevin's making jokes in the chat. He said, how many damn puns have been used so far?
This builder really has some teeth. In a jar.
That's funny.
So I'm going to put a box in here, right? Or did I? Was that a box already? Oh, fuck it. No,
yeah, I'm actually very confused about the box situation. So is the
man,
we're going to compare to, you know, Elementor and Bricks, and Elementor doesn't really have a section. They used to have sections and columns, and then obviously Bricks has like very semantic, like actual like HTML like stuff. So when you click on this box thing, it just can be whatever you want it to be, basically.
Yeah. Now this box, I can set it to flex grid or layers. I don't know what layers are. They described it on I think it's a CSS thing. I think Kevin talked about it at some point. So
I've heard of CSS layers. I don't know.
I think it's a fairly new thing in CSS.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah. So
I don't hate that. It's just it's a little confusing. I guess if your first box is your section, and then can you do like the semantic tags too? Can you make these actually a section?
No. Okay, let me see if I'm lying here. I don't think I can. HTML element. Oh no, I can actually. I can make it a section.
Yeah, it's just another one of those things. It's like now we're clicking 45 times. I wonder if you could like save global. That's tough, you know. I wonder if you could like save it globally set like that, and then you can bring them in each time. Also, Kevin said to click on the
click on it.
Thing.
Let's see. Let's take a look. So layers, align. Kevin, tell me what I'm looking at. I don't know. I didn't look into this. I mean, if you want, we can pull up the documentation.
Yeah, we definitely could. I don't know if that's actually what that is. It kind of seems like it's a way to edit it. Actually, wouldn't it be the box, and then you change whether it's flex or grid, and then layers would be maybe something that you could edit the.
Okay, let's take a look at the docs. So Flexbox, CSS Grid. When you use Flexbox, now they explain the whole point of both of these. How to add the box module. Flex grid or layers until you achieve the desired layout.
Yeah.
Display options.
Does seem like a Z
layers enable layers design. Layer designs for enhanced visual appeal. Okay, I mean, sure. Layers. The layers option allows items within the box to be organized in stack format. Ideal for adding text overlays or visual elements. So it's position absolute. Is that what it is?
A little weird. I mean, those are
okay.
Can't you do that in like most?
I don't know.
Other things? Yeah, forget it.
Let's move on.
I don't know if it's pertinent to the project, but that's very interesting.
Let's try to make this a grid. So basically, I thought I'm gonna just put like a 1.5 FR, 2 FR situation or something like this, or 1, 2 FR, right?
Yeah, I had the same.
Which would make sense. So this should have like 2 tracks, right? And then you go flex direction. I think it's column by default, if I'm not mistaken. Sizing and placement. And then, yeah, where do okay, let's look at the children. Grid column. So I can start, end and span it, but there's no FRs. Like I can't, it's just not a thing. Width and height. I think I have percents and I have view width and height, but viewport width and height, but I have no FRs. So that's number one. So let's just, for the hell of it, let's just say, okay, fine, we're just going to use 50-50.
It's a good point, Marco.
Yeah, Marco's making a really good point there.
Good point, Marco. Also, David, yeah, 100%. We do not say we're Beaver Builder experts, but yeah, it would be very nice if anybody knows like a Beaver Builder expert,
Yeah, if anybody, yeah,
hit us up.
please do chime in. Yeah, they try to get cute and cause huge issues. Exactly, because they just confuse the fuck out of people who learn this stuff. Like we know HTML and CSS. It's not. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, it's very interesting.
So okay, and then the next thing that really threw me off. Like now, it would make sense to just put this as a background image, right? Because it's flavoring more than. Well, it is the album cover, but let's say I want to put this as a background image. So obviously I would go to appearance, background color. It's just not an option. I cannot do that. Okay. So I need to now put a photo in here. And then there's no position, absolute, object size, object fit cover. Like I can't do that. Now this thing is gonna adopt the height of the photo. It's just, that's how high this is gonna be now. So let's go here, select photo, and yeah, this is it. So we get to see Taylor. That's nice, but I mean,
big Taylor Swift guy. Big Taylor Swift.
Big Taylor Swift guy. Sizing and placement. Okay, I'm lost. I want to give this a height. Of like, oh yeah,
yeah, we're in
I was
trouble.
also thinking that
we're actually in trouble if we screw this up.
Yeah, exactly.
Not from the WordPress community, from the Swiftie community.
Yeah, the Swifty's gonna fuck us up.
WordPress people are hostile. Swifties 10x.
Yeah,
it's nasty. I know.
I'm just thinking we're gonna keep building this site in different page builders until she notices, and just like either sends us a cease and desist or like big problem. Like with Taylor Swift, I would expect her to be like, awesome, thank you guys, you're doing so great. Yeah. I didn't break up with her, and still she's writing a song about me.
These two chumps building our websites.
That's
funny.
Okay, where's the height? Okay, come on, let's focus here.
Focus.
VH. See, okay, but this is at least something I can do. I can set it to object fit cover. There. Okay, so now there's less head now. So what do we put in here? An H1, which also I didn't even look this up. But
no, those aren't even H1s actually. Those are right? That's an H3 and an H4.
Yeah, and there's a whole thing about
it. And it's a really weird thing. If you guys go to the
is it an A tag? I think it's an A tag.
It's really weird. Yeah, the whole like basically that whole container is a clickable element. So you can't even highlight that text.
Yeah, it's a huge A, and then inside it, there's just a span. Oh yeah, it's absolutely positioned. Yeah, okay. So you can't really go inside there with the mouse. But anyway, so that's just
not an H1 on this page.
Yeah, let's just use an H1.
Yeah.
Because while we're here, I mean, that's the thing. Taylor Swift really doesn't need to do SEO.
Yeah, she doesn't. Yeah.
And then we got a text. Wait, what am I doing wrong? Okay, let's just put some text in here. Okay, and then let's go back to the heading. H2.
I will never, ever use Beaver Builder. I'm ready to parody to that. So we're flexed over here right now. It looks like we need to go to
this is flex. We need to change the direction. And then we put the H1 above it, and we need a button. So for the button, that's another thing. So I can use the Beaver Builder button, but you're going to see I can't, because if I put the button in here, I don't have the option to make it a transparent button as like this one, right? It's basically just if I have style, I can set the width, but actually no, I think I can manually make it transparent.
Yeah. Good. A comment from Kevin here is proof high-end cadence agencies don't even know what they're doing. The interesting thing to me is like if you and Kevin and most of you guys in the chat honestly would probably know better than me. If you go to Taylor Swift's website and you look at the DOM of that, like there's a lot of interesting things that I saw. Like, I mean, I saw use of important and stuff, and I saw like
Yeah.
other things being scratched out. It almost looked like the patterns. I don't know Cadence too well, but I like the core, the way that like the color palette and stuff like that is handled. I don't know if that's the way to do it. It didn't seem like there was a lot of global stuff going on, or even, you know, like obviously class based. It didn't seem like that to me. I could be completely wrong, but there's definitely a lot of interesting stuff going on in here, which I would just be interested to know who built this, you know, just as an example.
Yeah. Is there nothing in the footer?
No. Oh, actually, there's a very funny thing in the footer that I don't know if you caught when you were building, but I will absolutely address when I get to it. Is the smallest text I have ever seen in my entire life in a footer. And it says, if you need help with this website, if you're using a screen reader and can't read this website, please call this number for assistance. That's hilarious. Oh, is the agency name in the footer? Interesting.
Okay, so what I ended up using, and I remember why now, ended up using the actual button of UABB, Ultimate Add-ons for Beaver Builder, because it has that hover effect built in, right? Like this thing. So I'm going to come back
to this comment.
Style
Brendan.
Transparent. It's already transparent,
which
is nifty. Border size 1 pixel, and then round corner 0, and hover styles, fill background from left, which pretty much does the trick. And then width, also white text on white background. Like you need to manually make this text darker. Yeah. Also, just the thing with Beaver Builder, every mouse click, you need to wait for it to react. Like you guys probably noticed the amount of time it takes to click on stuff is it takes a moment. So where do I go full?
Yeah, where do you like align that to the bottom?
What do you mean? Oh yeah, in the box.
Or I guess it would be in the box, yeah.
Width, there we go, full width. Okay. And then I think I just ended up using padding in the box to just put this thing, like, because there's a bunch of padding here and a bunch of padding there. So box, where is it? This one. Also, if I want to name these, like, you can't double click on them, but you can go to advanced.
Oh my God.
And then you go to label.
No way.
And you're like,
right click on it?
Text. And now if I save and wait, then now it says TTPD text here. So yeah.
Oh my.
I can't can I right click on it? No, I can duplicate it that way.
Damn.
So
I'm going to be completely honest with you. Before I started using Bricks, I didn't rename anything in Elementor though. So
yeah.
I mean,
okay.
I'm not saying that's the right way to do it. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Let's just imagine this as the tortured poets department and that's an order now and shit like that. So for all intents and purposes, this is our opener. I don't have a setting because like the background of this whole website is this cream color.
Yeah.
So I think the easiest way to do this is to just
Ruben, does Breakdance allow you to rename items? I'm sure I would have to assume it probably does. You know, I want to make a quick point about that while Maddie's doing this as well, is that there is honestly something to say here about the idea of when you look at all these builders, right? You look at Oxygen, Elementor, Bricks, Breakdance, the list goes on, right? You absolutely would think that you have a strong advantage if you started building your builder sooner rather than later. Obviously, you're further behind because you have less developed, but like there's got to be something you have to think about the fact that Divi and Elementor were like the first there, right? So the code base that they're dealing with, of course they could refactor. I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm just saying the code base, the way that they did it, they were like first ones there. And they've built, you know, great products and stuff like that, like, you know, ecosystems and things. But the reasons, I think a reason that like Bricks and Breakdance to some degree as well, like are doing like good things or like have really good pieces to them is because they just took all the good parts from the other ones.
Yeah.
And then they took the best piece. I mean, that's how I would build a product. Like if I wanted to build a better, you know, Tesla or something, that's a bad example, but like, you know, if I wanted to build a better Tesla, I would probably start with that, which is difficult to get to, but I would start with that as the goal, you know what I mean? And then build from there rather than having to actually like invent something. So, I mean, just a thought there.
Yeah. Okay. So now we've got that cream color, and so it doesn't mess with me while I'm building. I just made it not logged in. So it's almost, we spend a lot of time on this now. So why don't I just quickly talk about what else I did with the other parts? Or I can just bring up what I did build because I have it on my local. And then just wrap Beaver Builder up in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
And then perhaps see what we missed in the chat.
For sure.
So this is how far I got. And then I tried building this, and I failed. Obviously, there's no way to actually build it. If we look at,
this is your Beaver Builder though? That was your Beaver Builder local,
this is my Beaver.
Do you want to just do you want to just go into the page there and just kind of talk about how you did it?
I can show.
Obviously, we had more time when you did it offline.
Yeah. So I didn't try to build the card things. They're not too hard. Like you could just put a bunch of columns in and just style them as they make sense. So I used Ultimate Add-ons for Beaver Builder Interactive Banner 2. I tried 1 as well. There's 2 kinds of interactive banners, and then you have different styles that you can choose from. So basically, you choose a style, and then you save, and then you open the thing in the front end, and then you see how it, like what it does, right? And then you try another style and you save again, and then you open it in front. And this is how you see if there's one that actually does the trick. But nothing is actually similar to what they're doing here. So rebuilding it is out of the question, but you could just use some pre-made element in Beaver Builder to build something equivalent that does the same job of, showing off the videos. Yeah, that's pretty much as far as I got, really.
Okay.
You can see that the button thing works, right?
Did you use CSS for that, or does it have that as an animation?
No, that's the thing. I used the Ultimate Add-ons button because it has that thing. And then you know what I actually did? I think on my local build, I used CSS to, I gave it a max width here, right? Invite me so I can roast you while you do it. Next time, Kevin. Next time. If there's a next time, you're on.
I think he was talking to Ruben. Ruben's going live.
All right. Okay.
Ruben's going live to show us how to do it on Breakdance, bro.
Oh, gotcha.
Time, buddy.
Okay. So if there's questions about Beaver Builder, shoot. I hope I'm a bit douchey about it. I understand. It is a tool that has served me well. I built a lot of nice websites with it. Like, I'm proud of this one. Just in terms of layout. So it's possible to do these kinds of things, right? This kind of grid, like I've kind of built that. It's not a grid. It's not technically, it's not a grid, but I built this stuff. There's some neat animations and shit. It's okay, but yeah, we don't want to look at the DOM. And
do not open the DOM.
Let's not do that today. Let's yeah.
That's funny.
Okay, let's see what people are saying here.
Yeah, I pulled up most of them, but yeah, I know you were working. If you want to kind of run through them a little bit, but
issue.
Yeah, we'll kind of wrap up Beaver Builder. I'll move into Elementor. I'll start getting my workflow kind of.
You might as well start sharing your screen, and I'll catch up on some of the.
Okay. Let me switch that over here. Nice. All right, let me get back to this chat. Tribes, we sure do have them, 100%. It's a slow builder. It had its day. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's kind of interesting. I mean, you kind of saw it there. We tried to build as much as we could. Maddie, I think you did a great job explaining a lot of that stuff. Especially, is this your first time being live?
Live, yes, yeah, first time.
Nice. Let's give it up for Maddie. They've been around. Team is dedicated to staying relevant. Yep.
Sure.
CSS Grid is fairly new.
Yes. Yeah, they just implemented it a couple of months ago.
Then move back to the block. I don't know. I go back to it's so much harder to use. Yeah, it's. I mean, again, I don't have extensive use with Beaver Builder, but just kind of from seeing what Maddie was dealing with there. We're not trying to throw shade on any of this. We're literally just trying to call it as we see it. There was a lot of clicks. There was some.
There's a lot of waiting.
Interestingly,
the thing that really irks me with Beaver Builder above anything else is that with every click I have to wait.
Yeah.
It's sluggish. It takes time.
Okay. What do you say? Should we switch to Elementor mode?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let's do it. All right, let's switch our little. It's Maddie's idea. Put these little logos up here. Genius.
Oh yeah.
Restream actually obliged very nicely and was able to do that.
Also, speaking of ideas, Bridge Builders was my wife's idea, just to make that very clear.
Oh, very nice. All right, cool. All right, so here's what I'm going to ask of you, Maddie, here, if you can kind of monitor this chat. I don't know. I don't think you have the option to show them necessarily, but if we could, I don't know. I can kind of bounce back and forth too. All right, here's the deal, guys. What you see on the screen here is pretty much what you get when you do Elementor for the very first time. Also, if anybody's used Elementor, let me know. If anybody has never used it and hates it without using it, let me know. Give me a little bit of context in the chat. But I'm going to go over the super high level, and then we'll get into actually building it. What I'm doing here as a quick setup is my goal here is to try to use this. I'm going to try to use their global styling, kind of like how Maddie did in Beaver Builder. There's really no class-based approach. You can do classes, but from what I understand and the way that I've used it in the past, it's not like a Bricks workflow where you build a class and then you can use the UI to make the class. I think there is a class thing, but you have to do it separately.
Yes.
So it's not really great in that, it's just harder to do that. Also, I'm going to try to do this with vanilla Elementor and Elementor Pro. So if we get to it or whatever, maybe we can use some CSS, but highly unlikely because I didn't really kind of prepare that per se. But when I built this, I got very close to where I thought we could, I got very close to this with Elementor, but again, there's a lot of other things rather than just making it look that way. Obviously we're all looking for, we all have different priorities when we're building and things like that. And we want to try to make it scalable, maintainable, all that jazz. Any other things here? I want to talk about this real quick. Okay. This is not builder related, but I do think that we're all interested in this. This website built with WordPress and Cadence, as we've talked about. I have seen this on Post Malone's website. I've seen this on many other artists' website. Brennan brought it up in the comments in the chat earlier. For some reason, we can have a broader discussion on this some other time, but I've seen this happen where they use WordPress for the CMS portion in the main marketing website, but then they use Shopify, right? Over at a subdomain, this is Shopify, at store.taylorswift.com. The reason I'm bringing it up is just because I've noticed that trend, and there's got to be a reason. One might be because people don't like Woo, which is understandable. I've never had a huge problem with it, and there's other alternatives now, but that's something kind of to note. But it does seem like, here's my question though. Here's the thing, right? We know that, let's just say that Shopify is better than WooCommerce. Okay, we'll agree on that. That's fine. Let's set that. But why are they using WordPress for the marketing site? You know what I mean? So it's very interesting to me where I know why they're using it, because my experience with Shopify, you can't do shit from a content perspective. It's very good for e-commerce, but for content side, it's whatever. So it's just very interesting, the separation of concerns there. You guys probably have more experience with some of that than I do. I've only built one site in Shopify, but I just thought it was kind of something interesting. So, and Maddie, if you want to chime in on anything as we go, definitely. I'm going to probably be talking a lot, but just jump in.
I wasn't listening. I'm just reading the chat.
This guy, he doesn't care about Elementor.
Yeah.
Last
what you do.
Last bit here is just on the back end. I use Jet Engine for my custom post time and everything like that.
Just a quick one. I like what Raquel is saying here. Divi was the first with a comfy buffer. So I'm guessing that was related to the speed thing, clicks taking time.
Yeah, I think I would obviously need to get more context from Raquel there. If you want to let us know, definitely let us know, Raquel. I think also though, it's probably more just is it the way that it feels? Is it easy to use or something too? Maybe that's a little bit into it. But yeah. So, okay. So using Jet Engine, I already have the menus kind of set up. I already have the custom post type set up. If you want to see some of that, I can show you, but that's that. And then for Elementor, we have Elementor Hello as our theme. So what that does is it gives you more of the option to not have another theme. It was always the one that I used because it was built by Elementor for Elementor. I was using Astra at one point. That seemed kind of silly. So once they came out with Hello, I was just using that. So this is a little bit of a different experience than what Maddie showed with Beaver Builder, because this is kind of the way I feel like this is supposed to work. You know what I mean? Like, and they make it easy because the Hello theme is free for Elementor. So the only thing that you'd really be paying for in this case is Elementor Pro and then Jet Engine, but that's totally separate. All right, why don't we jump into this? Okay, so I already added some media. Also, this is Happy Files over here. If anybody's ever used that, solid, very solid plugin, also from Thomas. Basically just new page, edit with Elementor. So pages, home, make your home page, whatever, edit with Elementor. We'll go in here. This is what the builder looks like. If you're not familiar with, I think it's on dark mode right now. This is so we've got what we're trying to build. We've got our preview here, and then we have our builder. I think we're pretty good out there. So we'll just dive into this. Also, I'm going to start with some site settings. And this will be, if you've never used Elementor, this might be, or even recently, this might be like super interesting, is that the way that you handle anything like globally is like you have to be in the builder here, and then you go up to this tab and you go site settings. And these are like where you set your fonts, your colors, your typography, things like that. So it's similar to Bricks, I guess, in certain ways in that regard, and other builders. But this is probably where I would start. Did I always start like this? Absolutely not. But I'm going to try to do this at my peak of Elementor usage, as far as like the way that I was doing this and everything. All right, so I've got some notes over here, so let's kind of just go through this. If you want to set up your site identity, and again, some of this stuff I think is actually, no, we don't need any AI today, thank you. I think some of this stuff is actually from the builder part, the plugin, and some of it is from the theme. So there's a couple, different pieces of that, but ultimately this gives you control over not just the page building experience, but like the other parts and things like that. So for instance, site logo, you can set this site logo in here. I actually really like this feature. I know it's in other builders, is like you can set your logo here and then you have it as a logo, like item, and you can like a logo element, and you can put it wherever. So we'll just set that there. The fave icon, is just this one. So I have that in there. And then if we update this and then we go over here and we reload this, which this could probably be on a live preview, but I just never did that. I always just reloaded it. So now we have our fave icon up here. And when we put the logo element in, the logo will show up there as well. Maddie, anything good going on in the chat? Anything interesting?
No, nothing really.
If there's a specific question, definitely let me know, because I'm just flying here, dude.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a shout and then you can highlight it.
Got it. Cool. All right. So logo and fave icon, we got that. Set fonts. So there's,
by the way, the logo and fave icon, I always used to set that through the customizer in Generate Press.
Okay. See, I hated the customizer. I absolutely loathe the customizer. So like I never went in here. You can do it up here as well. But this is the other thing too, is I felt like once you had Hello as your theme, you didn't really have to come in here, which for me at the time was very nice, so kind of like totally removed myself from everything core at that point, other than like blog posts. I would still do that obviously in there.
I like what Peter's saying here. So the latest comment, he says theme for BB&E are not really a factor until you get to premium features like Beaver Themer, includes ways to manage. So basically, if that's also what I suspected. Like if I had ever bought into Beaver Themer, I'm sure the theme wouldn't have even factored into anything anymore.
Yeah.
So that's a good point to make.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. All right. So we're back here. I was going to show one thing here real quick. Oh, yes. Okay. So I honestly never understood this Elementor like thing with the, if you've ever been a part of it, if you go to settings of Elementor, there's this concept where you can disable default colors and disable default fonts. I always found that I just turned that off, and then it gave me kind of more specific control. I'm not even going to tell you. Again, this is the thing, is because some people probably are using Elementor with Astra, and I don't know if that has anything to do with it, or other themes. And there's just a lot of settings in here. You know what I mean? That like I don't know if you should or should not turn these off. I'm telling you, for this, I'd have them turned off, and I'll show you how I would go about building something like this with this workflow. So the next thing I would do is probably set my fonts. Now, I'm not in a GDPR necessary place. I mean, I'm not saying don't worry about that stuff, but for this case, I'm just going to use the preloaded Google fonts that are kind of like fully in here and come with Elementor, just kind of right out of the box. So if we go, and this is the other thing too, is like, I never understood this. Like, you cannot delete these. You cannot disable these. You can't turn them. I mean, you could just not have them. Like, you just not set them. But the way this style guide thing is kind of interesting, but the way that I handled this, you'll see when we start to build, it's a little weird. It's not like you're actually setting anything from a class-based approach, or even if you're familiar with ACSS, it's like it's similar, but it's not. And I just don't know how to explain it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to a primary font, right? This kind of gives you ultimately a variable, but there's no variables that I can tell. It's just like, it's called primary and you can select it when you're doing the rest of the stuff. So I'm going to say primary font family. And the one we're using is Libre Castellan text, I think here. And you could change the weight here. But again, this is kind of a weird thing because this is my primary font, and I could go down through this list, but there's also another area where we could do this. And I'm just not exactly sure if like the best way to do it. But I like this concept of having these fonts available to me as quote, like pseudo variables or something. But I literally don't know exactly what the point of doing it like this is. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have primary, and then I'm going to have accent. So our primary is going to be that serif font that we're looking at, and the accent is going to be that sans serif font that we had. And we have to make, if we have to make changes, we will, but that's kind of what we're just going to set there, just so we have those as options. If you're talking about scalability, okay, this is the only reason I could think about that. If you're talking about scalability, I'm going to show you an example real quick, and then we'll come back to this. Is like when you're looking at your typography now, like that was global fonts, right? As almost like variables. And now we're over in our typography section. So you can globally set at a high level, right? With, I don't know if it'd be less specificity or whatever. You can come in here and you can say, okay, I want my H1 to be, you can manually set it if you want, but this is what I just did. Like I could come in here and I could click primary, and now all of my H1s inherited that same primary variable, right? They're pulling from the global variables. Again, I am sorry if I'm butchering the semantic like names for these things, but I genuinely don't know. I don't feel like it's set up properly for me to be consistent. So I don't know exactly, but I'm just trying to explain what I'm doing. So from the H1 here, you're setting up that typography, right? And it's going to be primary now. Well, if we want, this website's a little weird with the way that it handles the H1s and H3s and all that sort of stuff. But I think like some of the H3s are that other serif or that sans serif font that we had, right? The buttons and things like that or whatever. So you could set that as the accent. And now theoretically, if you wanted to change, if the H2s, H3s, and H4s, for instance, were all the same font and you're using that accent global font, you could just go back to that place we were just at, the global fonts, change the accent, and it changes in all those places. Kind of a cool feature, a little confusing though, slightly with the way that it's set up, especially for somebody that probably didn't start with this at the forefront of what they're, kind of thinking about and doing, as far as like the scalability approach. So yeah, just, I know there was a lot there. If you have any questions, let me know. But hopefully that kind of made sense there to some degree. So that's kind of the fonts. Let's talk about the colors. We talk about colors here. There's really a few different colors that, like Maddie showed and that we were kind of talking about here. For primary, I'm going to go ahead and set this, this color that's like that dark coffee type color. That's like pretty much a lot of the stuff, right? If we go back over here, we're saying all these are the same. Like this is a logo, but like this line, this text, it's
all pretty much the same. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like almost everything on this website is that color. There's a couple different other things that I saw and that I want to change here.
There's a cream fill, and then there's the semi-transparent button thing.
Exactly. So this accent color, and again, you can, it's like you can't really delete these, and you could. Can you rename them? You can rename them, but it's like they're half. I don't know. It's half.
You can add some, right?
You can add, yeah. So like accent is the one that I was going to use for. We'll get to it, but I think this is my accent right here that I put. So any of that color, and then there's this other color here. This is definitely different. I mean, is that this?
You might as well use the same one.
All right, yeah. Let's actually just say that's the same color
for all intents and purposes.
But I will say this. I see. Here's the thing. I don't want to rename something that they can't tell me. I can delete or whatever. But and for the sake of it, let's just add a new one, right? Okay. So I don't know why they don't have a base or what one they want you to use as your base, because in this case, this website is not white. It is a different color. So my base color is this right here, which is that cream. It's like, it's a little different. I mean, honestly, it still might be the same thing, but it's a little different. We'll just call it a little different.
I'm not gonna lie. I think the way they turned this into a style guide right in front of your eyes, that is cool. That is a very cool feature.
That is cool, I will say. But at the same time, you could make your own page like this as well. But it is awesome. It is very cool. Definitely something to think about.
I was really impressed when I saw that ACSS had the same thing. Like the style guide in ACSS is really cool.
It is really nice to see
it
it
saves
all.
you a lot of work.
100%.
But then, so this Elementor style guide, would you be able to share that with your client? Like, does it have its own URL?
That's a great question that I don't know the answer to.
Okay. If anybody knows,
I would have to. I would assume no, but I could be very well wrong. There might be another place. You can actually turn it off too. But that's kind of cool. All right. So we have our main color, we have our accent color there, and we have our base color. Now, again, just to kind of high level, the whole website is that base color, except for this one part here that I'm going to call white because I don't care if that's a little off white. It's just a different color.
Yeah.
And I'm going to set that manually because I don't care. All right. So what else?
Be sure to like perhaps speed through the setup, like the general groundwork a little, so we can see some building as well.
100%. All right. So I think we're good here. If I was building this, you can do like buttons and form fields and things, which I did, but I would come back to that. I would put, I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to put like the main pieces together, and then we're going to come back. Okay. So probably here's the next thing I would do. I would go to save templates. All right. So in Elementor, this is how you have to do this. You have to go to save templates, and you have to create, a header, a footer, and different things like that. These are kind of like, I don't know if they're patterns, template parts, whatever, and other, the core calls them and stuff like that. But you can create your own custom header. You can create your own custom footer. You can create like different, templates. And it's kind of weird because they're not components, but some of them are not like full pages either. You can see all the different categories, right? Single posts, like all that sort of stuff. All right. So this is a header that I already did. So I guess I will just, quickly add let me actually just see real quick. I think this is the one that I already did. Yeah. So we'll rebuild that, or we can go through it, but I have the stuff here ready if we need to, if we need to redo it here. So here's what you would do for adding a new header, right? Clean site. I'm going to call this like header. I'm just going to call this header 1, because I already have another header. You could, here's the thing. Elementor has a lot of these like different, pre-made stuff that is using their elements and the style and everything like that. It's tough because they are like, this is an example of, if you're familiar with frames, these are quite opinionated, right? They're not like wireframes. They're already built. And the reason they're already built is because I think they're actually more from full pages, and they're just like, they pulled out the pieces, like they're full designs of sites. And then you could like pop in different things. Obviously, you can change all this stuff, right? It's built in their platform. You can change everything about that. But it's like, it's already has those things set. I have to put in one important thing in here. I think they fixed this, but for the longest time when they were changing from their old sections and columns to containers, some of the things in here were still using the old way of doing it, the old way of building with sections and columns. And I was like, I'm using containers now. I don't want to deal with that. I'm assuming they fixed it all, but yeah. So let's just try to fly through this here. So I'm also going to bring up on my other side of my screen kind of exactly how I did some of these things here, because I want to make sure. I'm probably going to have to cover up the video a little bit here on my end. So Maddie, just be my eyes and ears in the chat, and let me know if anything goes haywire. Yeah. Okay. So we made the menu, and the one thing I will say about the menu is when you go to screen options in the WordPress menu, if you go to screen options and you do link in tag, or I'm sorry, real quick. This is an important part because I don't know why this isn't on by default. If you go up here, screen options, link target, you would need that if you're going to build this menu properly, because these, like this shop now one goes out to another thing. So it just gives you this open and new tab, which I've already done, but just a random aside there. All right. So how did I do this over here? Let's take a peek. All right. So if we're editing our header here, this new one, this is the old one. Well, this is the one I built, and this is this one. So what I did here was I did Flexbox, and I did like this. And I kind of thought that this was full width, right? And then did I use any other containers? No, I kind of just used, I went site logo, and then I went divider, our favorite divider, because we should probably be using something else, but divider.
Just a very quick note, something we forgot to mention.
Yeah.
If you look at the description of our stream, you're going to see that these environments, you can access them and you can take a look.
Yep.
Right, like where this is on our servers, so we have the links in the description.
Yep.
So whenever we save, you can also see the progress. You can see the thing I did in Beaver Builder, and now you can watch this.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. Yeah, you can see the whole, like literally you could like look at it right now if you wanted to. Cool. All right. So I had a logo, I had a site logo, which was that thing. It just automatically pulls that in. I had a divider, and then I had another container over here. And the reason I did that was because I was just going to try to shift. I was going to try to change this. And this is one of those things where like, I just really don't, I personally don't know. I'm going to get all these things in here. So there's another WordPress menu, and where's my other divider? All right. So let's do this. So we want to change this to top nav. We have our site logo here. We have this divider, and we have this other container, right? And the way that I still don't understand exactly how to change the width of these things. Because it's extremely strange. But let's try to do this here. So I would go solid, and then style wise, I think we said about like 2. Talk about these colors, right? So this is what I'm talking about. Anywhere where there's a color, you can do like you can do a primary. So if we wanted to change that color, it's a little nice that you could just change it all in one place. So there's a little bit there. This is not probably the best way to do like a whole dividing thing here. Definitely not ideal in the slightest.
Dave Den is asking, why not use the newer theme builder?
Newer theme builder in Elementor?
Probably.
Is that this thing in the site settings? In the
Dave, can you point us there?
Yeah. I'm just going to put this on the entire site. This thing right here, I'm publishing it to the entire site. Obviously, this would be where your display conditions would be. So if you want it on specific pages or whatever, but for the sake of this, it's going to be on the entire site. Yeah, Dave, let me know, because again, I haven't used this in a while. So if I'm missing something, you can let me know for sure. I'm going to jump around here a little bit, just doing the things that are kind of knocking off easier things.
Oh, so when you were setting up the template, you used save template instead of the theme builder.
Oh.
You branched off the save template. I think
what he's talking about here is just theme builder.
This?
So this is kind of cool. I mean, this is nice that you can have this. I don't know if this is any different than, is this just visually different?
I see. Okay.
I think this is just visually different, right? So you can see all the different things. You can do whatever you can add new.
Plate, right?
Yeah. I was just table view. Yeah, it's just a different view. But no, I do like the theme builder concept. I mean, it's cool to see it and everything. But yeah, just a different UI, it seems like. All right. So if I was going to style this menu up, I would say text color would be primary. I would say typography, like we talked about, would be so this is another weird thing too. So like we're grabbing from global fonts, which gets us like halfway there. But all of our primary stuff, like I only set the font family. I didn't set anything else, because if you're going to do something like this, you don't really want to be that specific, I would think, because the heading and the headers, or the nav up here, and then like the headers and different things like that, are all different sizes, weights, and stuff. So you'd probably have to like, you'd want to go in here anyway, I feel like, and change some of these things. In this case, if we go back here, in this case, it's not capitalized, but pretty much everything else is, as an example. So you're going to want to, I feel like you're going to want to change that in different areas. I actually think this weight is a little more. But yeah, let's talk about the separator real quick. So they call it dividers. It's a single. You can't really bend it. You know what I mean? Like you can't slant it in any way like the actual website has. So that's tough. You can change the weight and height a little bit, but that's pretty much as far as we're going to get there, because we're we're not taking time to figure out how to do that. Obviously, it would just be like a pseudo element or something if you were doing it a little bit more custom.
It's pretty much the same in Beaver Builder. You can put in a divider, but it's the same thing. Like
Yeah.
it's just a pipe.
Yeah. So I changed this container over here to Flexbox. And again, this is a tough thing. Like they have they have grid, they have flex. And right now the main container here is Flexbox, direction, like horizontally row. Right. And then, I mean, I guess I could, we're just not doing this very well with dividers. So I don't really know exactly the best way that would,
What's your screen resolution? Is it a 1440p or is it 1080? The one you're sharing?
It's a one huge screen, 5 something.
Oh yeah, right. I remember you said that. Because
Yeah.
Evan is asking, are the sidebar fonts really small in Elementor? Is that always like that, or is
Over
it
here? Oh yeah. I mean, they're kind of small to me, but I can read them. I don't know. They're probably really small on the screen. So apologize about that. But yeah, I got a lot of windows open right now. All right, so let's see. I'm taking a look over here. So like our dividers, these freaking menus are just tough. So I'm looking at the other one and I'm trying to see like what exactly I did. But the thing is, like, here's an example. So like now we got this weird stuff going on here. If we update this, I don't think I had it updated. Maybe I did.
Yeah, Dave's suggesting that if we can, we should perhaps zoom in.
Okay.
A little.
How about that? I think it's gonna look weird just because the way that we're kind of doing it here, and then the way that I'm.
It's probably going to throw off the design process, right? A little bit.
Yeah, I mean maybe on my end, yeah, but let me. There's a way to. What did I do to get this to slide over here? Because this is the part that I'm talking about. Is I never understood how to actually change the widths of this. Because like obviously you wouldn't want this to be you wouldn't want this divider to be like taking up this much space if you were actually doing it like this. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that, but I'm looking at my cheat sheet over here and I'm not seeing that. So I don't know. It is what it is. We'll play around with that in a little bit. So I want to get back into the actual meat and potatoes of this because I think that's the actual cool part. All right. So let's talk about this. We're gonna refresh our builder here. We're working on the page now. Forget about the header for right now, but we're working on the page. The first thing that I always did was I changed this. You can change this by default, but right now I'm just changing this to the page layout of Elementor full width. And the reason I'm doing that is because it gets rid of that title. It kind of just makes everything a little bit more streamlined, standard, what have you in that regard with the way that the page actually looks, and it gives you a blank canvas in the actual page part. Which is in a lot of ways like necessary if you're going to do anything there. So we did that. We talked about that strange clickable area kind of in the middle there. So that was a little, I don't know, that's a little strange. I actually did this when I did it on my end. I did it as a flex box instead of a grid. I tried with a grid and I was like, I don't know how to make like a one, like 75%, basically like a 1x3 or whatever, however you exactly say that with the parts. So I just did a flex box, and it actually did come out kind of nice over here. So let's see if we can kind of create that. So we have our first flex, and the way that I did was I added another.
Is this your first flex today?
Yeah, my first flex, dude. So I did a container. And then actually I did 2 containers within this. So let's duplicate that. So one big container for the whole thing and then 2 containers on the inside.
Yeah, Brandon, I think it has dark mode, but you know what I'm going to do?
Elementor?
Beaver.
Yeah. So we're going to go heading, and then I think I did another heading, and I did a button. Where's my button? And then over here, I did an image right here. Cool. All right, so let me grab this stuff, make it look legit. Available now. Again, what did I do here? I did H3 here, even though that's not the best, but I was kind of going off slightly what they did. I did H1 here. Down here with this button, this is where like I decided to start styling the buttons globally, which is kind of, again, in some ways, it's nice that you can do that. It's nice that they give you the option to, so I'm justifying it down, justifying it centered, centering this. Cool. Kind of coming alive a little bit. Over here, this is our lovely Taylor picture.
So wait, you're not using a background for that. You're using
Wasn't using a background because I don't think that the image ever changes. Like meaning like I don't think it ever. I think you always see this. You know what I mean?
Right. It doesn't get cropped in. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my read on it. Okay. So let's actually keep going here. I'm just gonna do one more thing. So what I did here was I did width 75, and it's gonna be probably difficult to see. But the reason I did width 75 was because this is a real website. This width, like this part here, this hero kind of like obviously breaks out of where most of the other stuff is, like the content width. So I just broke it out like that in Elementor land. And where's let's see what we got here so far. Yeah, so kind of coming together a little bit.
Yeah, so the image always scales.
Yeah.
Like it never gets cropped.
Yeah. Yeah, the image gets pretty big. All right, so let's do another. This is kind of interesting. So like Flexbox and down, and then I added a little bit of padding, I know, just kind of on the top and the bottom of this. And again, I think actually if you saw that, what that did there, I think by default it actually has gutter padding, but when you go to change it, like it obviously sets it all to 0. So there's not like additional, it doesn't seem like there's an additional way to do it unless you did it on the page level, I guess, like the whole body of the page, you might be able to do that. But that was always like something that was kind of interesting to me, just doing, because I would always end up having where I lose my gutter padding. So that's something to consider if you're still using, Elementor and thinking about that. Okay, so the part that I'm building here, if you guys don't know, is this section here. So I added this container, I added the padding above and below, and then I'm going to add a heading. I'm going to add a divider because that's what we're doing now.
By the way, let's make this a 5-minute call, give or take. 5 to 7 minutes.
Okay. Like the rest.
For Elementor.
Okay.
Because I think we are about 35 minutes in.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. So we got this store, and then like shop official store. What we got here? And then, honestly, this is the interesting part down here is another container. You'd put this below. And this flex would be, actually I want this container in, there we go. So it's two containers within a container, obviously, and they're all flex. And I think maybe, if you want to wrap, then I should probably just bring up the other one, kind of the way that it was before.
Mm-hmm.
We can kind of just talk about that.
Walk us through the most salient things.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, so boom. Look at that. Snap your finger. That's what you can do with Elementor, actually. You can just snap your finger, it can be done.
There it is.
I don't know. I don't know if this is an Elementor sponsored video, but there you go. No, honestly, it's pretty shitty building stuff live like that when you're not super familiar with it. So I do apologize, but this is what I was able to do in like 2 hours yesterday when I tried this. So this is all in Elementor. It's very similar to what I was doing. We just obviously sped it up artificially. We talked about kind of the top piece here. I'll walk through like some of the workflow pieces. The store down here, like this stuff is pulling directly from, kind of like a primary thing, like a primary global font and everything like that. We have a simple divider here. These buttons are styled globally at the site settings level. So like there's styling in here, right? And also did it for the form fields as well, which we'll get to, but just know that like I styled that at a global level. So you don't have to style every single form, You can do, it's not class based, but it's globally based, which is kind of like almost halfway there, I guess. This is actually a piece that I had to teach myself a little bit, because I would always use Jet Engine, because for the longest time they didn't have like a loop item builder directly in Elementor. You had to like do some other like add-on shit. And what you can do now is you can actually build your loop items in here, similar to like a bricks in a way, but there's probably pros and cons. So this is a loop grid here, right? We have a container with a loop grid like element. And then you go to your loop grid element, you do the querying and everything like that, right? It's not like bricks where you can query anything. You still have to use this element. But then you use the loop grid, and then from that you can say like, do you want post, do you want whatever, and then you choose a template, right? So the template is the part that you actually see here. It's this box, right? Whatever, with the border, the picture, the heading, the button, all that. And then you can click edit template, and you can actually edit this right in here. I would say like it's a little wonky to some degree. You could also edit this in a different place. You can go back to that theme builder and you can click edit, and you can edit in like its own little area and window, magic area, as Kevin says. But you could do it kind of right here. It doesn't really give you a super great experience, but it does the job reasonably. You can see how my navigator has changed now. So I just have this thing. So I had a container, right? I had a border on that container. I have an image. I have a heading. I have a button. So you're able to kind of build all that in there. That's your item. And then you can come back. And all that was dynamic data, by the way. We did that. We didn't really get to that, but we got, these are products. Okay. I want to show that real quick. Right here, just as an example. These are products. So this is just a custom post type. We have them in there just so you can kind of see. What I did was title. I did an external link as a custom field. This is all through Jet Engine, Crocoblock, and then the featured image. So each one of those pieces pull in from this dynamic data bit. I can kind of show you what that looks like a little bit later. These are also the projects, which is that piece that Maddie was talking about at the bottom, the little scrolly thing with all the music videos. So the title, link for the YouTube video, a little bit of credit details, and then the picture that pops up there. So we'll talk about that. But again, all this is dynamic data. You click in here, you see that this is a featured image right here. That's how you handle dynamic data. I'm going to give you the worst part about Elementor right here. Biggest thing, one of the biggest things I love about bricks is, let's say you want this to be your post title, right? But it doesn't inject the dynamic data into like a text field or something. Or even like a text area. It injects it as the thing. You know what I mean? So now it's like the only way that you could imagine this wasn't a title and you wanted to put stuff before, after it, like you wanted to put multiple things in here. You can't do that. Like you can't put another thing. Like if you wanted post title and then like post author or something all on one line and manipulate it like you can in bricks, because they're just bracketed, squiggly bracketed variables. You can't do that. So
you need to place a new element,
yes,
and then for the next thing. Yeah.
Yes, it's really kind of like annoying, to be honest. Yeah. So that was like when I could do that, that was amazing. And then obviously this would be like our link would be to our options or dynamic town and Jet Engine, a custom field, boom, and then it would be external URL for the products. And then those products would ultimately link out. You can do a new tab. Cool. So it's got obviously a lot of the
See, that's I never went to that length to actually make CPTs. Like in Beaver, I don't. I think I worked with CPTs once in Beaver.
Yeah.
Using pods. And pods provides short codes. So I just made a template, and then I sort of told pods to use that template, because in pods you can sort of link it up to a template.
Right.
And then I just slammed all those short codes into the template. But that's the only way I knew. Probably with Beaver Themer, I'm almost 100% sure that supports dynamic data.
Yeah.
But Beaver Builder alone won't even let you do it.
I will say that once I learned about custom post types, I never went back. Like I probably overdo the custom post types and option pages and things like that more than most people, just because I love dynamic data.
It's awesome.
And Elementor did give you a reasonable way of doing that. So that was, I don't like telling people to not use dynamic data, because I feel like if you tell them that in cases where you should, it's a little disingenuous, but not just that. It's like, it's literally way harder and you can't do it a lot of things. So it's really limiting. Let me just go through these last ones and then we'll wrap on the Elementor stuff. This is literally just a picture, which I thought was kind of funny. This is just, you know, pretty standard buttons. To get these buttons to the same length, I don't know if there's a better way to do it, but I just made like a container, and then I made the width of the container the same, or the width of the container like 30% of what it was, and then that made the buttons, you know, all the same there. Those didn't even have links because I didn't really see like that was a reason to have a custom post type. Down here on directed projects, this was a bear. Let me do this here real quick. This was a bear because this is actually, again, one of those newer things, right? So the first one we saw was a loop grid in Elementor. This one is actually a loop carousel, which I didn't think that they were going to have, but they did. So it's literally like a carousel or a slider of these things. Actually, it seems a little buggy when you go to load it.
See, that's the thing with all these builders. You're basically always looking for, let's see if I get lucky and they have it.
Exactly. And then again, you can see just a couple notes about this, right? Like, if you look at this is, we're going to assume, is a predefined cadence something, right? And it's got this cool-ish effect or whatever. But the problem is, like, and I'm speaking slightly out of turn because I don't know about cadence, but I do know, like, just builder to builder, you can build this from scratch 100% because it's on the internet. It's using HTML and CSS 100%. But if you go to build this in an Elementor or Beaver Builder, you might be able to do something like this, which I'll show you what I was able to achieve in Elementor. But like, can you do this and get this little, you know, play button up here? What if you want the play button somewhere else? Like, what if you don't want it to say something somewhere? Or what if you want it to say like another line of something underneath that credit details thing? You know what I mean? It's just like, there's a lot of, I'm not even 100% convinced that credit details is actually text. I don't know 100%, but my point is, you know, there's just,
it is, I grabbed it from the source.
Okay. And then there's just all sorts of, you know, other things there. So to kind of talk about this for a second, it's a loop carousel, and then I got it to be as close as possible. So it does kind of work. But the thing is, the loop carousel, same thing as the loop grid. Obviously, you can query and everything like that. Let's look at this template real quick. This is actually the element that I had to use is called it was a flip box. Okay. So it's like, do you have a flip box? Is it going to work the same? You know, so if you have it, great. But if you don't, or you need to rebuild it, it's tough. So like, look at these settings real quick. It's like front, background, stuff like that. Like, you're putting in the featured image in the background. You're just playing with settings, right? You're throwing in credit details for the front. Then on the back, it's like the description. I was able to use a custom field. Also, in some builders, maybe you can't use dynamic tags for certain things, right? For the link. The one thing I couldn't do was I couldn't make it a light box. Like, I couldn't make a light box pop up when you click on it. Like it, made sense. So that's another limitation. Also, couldn't get that icon in there unless I did something crazy. So that was another weird one. So that was just it. And then just for the last bit here, pretty standard form here at the bottom. I didn't do anything crazy. I did email address, you know, select your country, which I just put in all the country names as a select field. Have a little disclaimer within the actual form, which is just an HTML field. And this is the regular Elementor Forms plugin. We got a submit button. And then down here at the bottom, we got to talk about the smallest text in the world for a second. Super small down here. This is another nav menu. And then over here, we have all the...
Kevin did say earlier that apparently the name of the agency is in there.
Yeah, I don't know if that was it or if it's in the source or something, but yeah. So, and the last thing I would say over here, this is a good, regardless of what builder you're using. If you're using something like this, I always love to use an options page for any links like this. So that's another good idea. So sorry I wasn't able to live build more of that for you guys, but yeah, I mean, it did kind of take me 2 hours to kind of like build this to where it is at this point. And then just so you can kind of see, this is it. I mean, this is what I built here. So it's close. Awesome. It's close-ish.
Visually, this is great. you got pretty close.
Don't open the DOM.
Yeah, exactly. So. And don't, you know, there's always some tinkering that we need to do to get there.
Yeah.
So Dave then had a couple additions here. You can add widths to widgets using the advanced tab, and allows you to use custom units as well. And about dynamic shortcodes,
Dynamic.
Dynamic
Oh,
oh, yeah, I'm not sure
I
about that.
actually have that. I have the
Oh, yeah?
LTD, and I did use that. I was trying to be vanilla as possible here, but yeah, my stack was more so like Elementor Pro, Jet Engine, the full suite of Crocker Block, and then Dynamic OO for certain things.
Right.
Yeah, you could definitely do more stuff. But again, I just want to say, like, I tried. If I'm thinking about it now, I try to stay as lean as possible. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool to have all these features, but now first of all, you have to remember where the shit is, like what plugins have what elements and how to do all that. And then you have to hope to God that it all works well. And then you have to hope that now you have more. Think about like a bigger site, like a membership site or something like that. Then you have more things that you have to worry about breaking because now you just have more plugins.
Yeah,
More
that's
concerns.
it.
I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying
There's also more attack vectors there,
Yeah.
like more ways that hackers can get in if any of these plugins have a security vulnerability.
Yeah. Elementor is famous for feature packing. Definitely debatable that it's a good or bad thing. Yes, it's all possible tools like cadence. Yeah. So I mean, we're not saying this is right way, wrong way. We're just kind of giving you guys
exactly,
hopefully an insight into what this looks like, good or bad. I mean,
also just while we have like this moment between builders, I'm enjoying the shit out of this. First of all, this is great. This is exactly what I hoped it would be.
Yeah,
we have good participation. So thanks to you
Appreciate
guys.
100%. Thank you all so much.
And the way you guys are engaging, like Dave's comments here, Evan, this is really useful. This is exactly what I was hoping. That people who've used these builders or still do chime in and give some perspectives, give some ideas, because this is how we look past our own horizons, and just learn something new. Like I've worked on on Elementor sites here and there a little bit, and of course I found my way around, but like it's different from watching somebody do it that has the experience with it. So yeah, I'm enjoying this. Let's take a moment while we still have viewers. Also, the numbers have been consistent. We got 21 people here right now. This is great. Tell us, guys, do you like this format? Is this working for you? Do you think we're providing some sort of value here? Do you like the conversation? And what builder should we do next? Like, do you guys know anybody that should be building? Next time we can do the same website as well. We can also do something else.
Yeah. Let us
Feel
know.
free to just let us know in the chat.
Yeah, let us know if there's any feedback, any good or bad, like anything to improve or anything like that. Again, if you know people that use other builders, we're definitely hoping to do more of these if they're well received here. Which again, we appreciate all of the support. Drop a like too if you're enjoying it. That definitely helps out. And yeah, if you have to go or if you miss anything here, we're probably going to be here for. I have to run probably in an hour or so, less than that maybe. So we're going to dive into bricks here.
Easily 45 minutes.
Yeah. But if you have to run, that's fine. It'll be on replay again, as we said. So let's you want to transition into bricks mode?
Yeah, Anya, I hear you. It's exactly that.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Thanks, Brendan.
Thank you, Brendan. Appreciate you, brother. Are you good to share?
I'm good to share.
Okay, cool. Let me switch you over here.
My parents taught me well. Also, we forgot an important thing. Obviously, now when we're done with these 3 pages, we need to go to Google Search Console and just submit them for indexing.
Oh yeah, 100%.
All right, so let's go bricks. So this is my bricks blueprint thingy. It has a bunch of shit that I prepared there that I always have in my blueprint. Also, just for the hell of it, let's take a quick look at the plugins I'm using. Might be interesting for other people's. I've become really fond of admin and site enhancements. I also bought a lifetime deal. It gives you a lot of really nifty usability improvements in WordPress. Just like it shows you immediately if you have your search engine visibility set to off, and it has rudimentary custom post type management in there. And you can tweak the hell out of everything you do in WordPress and with WordPress. It's got.
Did you say that was advanced themer?
ASE, admin and site enhancements. Okay. This is the free version, and that alone is already giving you a ton of stuff. And it replaces so many other plugins, which is great. It's just one that you need. Yeah, man.
Rocking that hat.
I bought my first hat in 2003, never looked back.
Advanced themer. Thinking about buying quickly. Any thoughts? Sarcasm. Somebody
yeah.
wants to
Go
build it
ahead.
quickly. Be interesting.
Compliance is, yeah, if anybody's in GDPR world, you know compliance.
Yeah.
It's a must. Happy Files, we probably all know Happy Files is this thing here. Rank Math is my preferred SEO plugin. It has wonderful features. It's a lot, even the free version gives me so many options. I really like it. WP Optimize. I like WP Optimize as my compress and cache stuff. First of all, it cleans up the database. Like it's like sort of what the Windows registry cleaners used to be. That's pretty neat. And it has a built-in image compression thing. It has minification. It has caching. Pretty much all you want. And it replaces Smoosh and all that. A bunch of other stuff that otherwise you would use different plugins for. I like it. WP Codebox, no question. WP Vivid. I used to use all-in-one WP migration for like 7 years, and I still very much like it. It's a great, great tool. It's never let me down. It works 100% of the time. And WP Vivid just gives you more options. And I switched to it a month ago or something. And at first it was a little wonky and actually shit the bed a couple times. But then I found the right settings for it, and now it's working well. And yeah, those are good ones. All-in-one WP Security is a very richly featured security suite. And then there's Matomo for people who want it. So bricks. Edit with bricks. We're going to start with the header. And this is what we're building. So first of all, I'm going to delete the stuff I have here. I'm going to turn, this is Advanced Themer. So I'm using Advanced Themer here. I can turn on these keyboard shortcuts, and now I press S on my keyboard and I have a section. Actually, I don't want a section. In the header, it shouldn't be a section. I learned from Cracker, I think it was Cracker, who said that because it's not a section on the website, it should be a div. And we don't need a container.
I don't know if you mentioned this, Maddie, but you're using obviously Advanced Themer there, and
yes.
You're not using a framework per se. You're using.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm not using ACSS. I have ACSS and frames, but so far I haven't yet started implementing it because I started using AT in probably about a year ago, and it's been serving me well. I have my own rudimentary framework, but I do see the benefits of ACSS. I do see what it brings to the table. I'm really excited about 3.0. So there's going to be a day where I switch to it.
Brendan wants you to show every single AT setting, just so you know.
What's that?
Brendan wants you to show every single AT setting.
Sure, no problem.
All right, extend the stream.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now this is a div. I think I set this shit to 0. I have a utility class for that. So seg pad non. Was it non? Or was it 10? I think I used 10. Okay, so let's make it 10. And then all the sections, again, we want to have the 30 pixels on the side. So I go to settings, theme styles, element section, and I put I want to link the opposites, and then I just use my space XM variable, which goes from 24 to 30 pixels. It's a clamp function. And so this is this, and then now we're putting in an image. We're putting in just a div. And I think then it's the menu. There's the menu.
I like those quick inserts. That's an AT thing, right?
It's an AT thing. You just press the key, and then we have another div, and that should be it. So this div is going to be our horizontal line. So I'm giving this a class called horline, and now we're going back to the section, which is not. Logo. Like if you want to be really systematic, you name all your shit in the structure panel. One thing that AT allows you to do is if I could double click here, I can just do this, and then if I double click again, it's back here. So just going to show off AT a little bit. Navigation, we don't need a class because this is only once used on the whole website. We're giving it a column gap of space M, and we want it to be this way. And that should be okay. the horizontal line. First of all, on ID level, I need to give this a flex grow of 1. Yep. Then the horizontal line, I need to set it to position relative. Just shout if you just interrupt me if there's anything, any questions. Then we put a before on that. The content is nothing. And the before has a height of 2 pixels. It has position, I think it was nothing. Its position's fine that way. Might be wrong. Width is 100%, and then we give it a background color, which is here. Is that the primary color? Yeah, that's the coffee thing. And I'm probably doing something wrong. What am I missing?
This is the pseudo.
Yeah, no, it still needs to be absolute.
There
Yeah,
you
it
go.
needs to be absolute. And then I go turn the before off again. And then I just go here, content. Oh yeah, of course. Flex.
Would you do direction?
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah. So this is our horizontal line. I think that pretty much does it. And then all we need to do is just assign the same class here. Right. And then
that was way easier than putting a divider in there.
It's so easy. You just, and then you lock this class so you don't accidentally fuck with it. And then go here. So advanced schema locks the style. Like if I have no class selected, it locks the style panel, because that makes me think twice about do I want to style on the ID level.
Is that actually an AT thing?
It's an AT thing.
That's really interesting, because I all the time I click in there.
And then you forget it. Yeah, and then you style on the ID level and you're fucked.
You can copy them, but it's annoying.
You can, but here's the other thing. Like, let's say I style on the ID level. I give this a bunch of styles. Whatever, right? Typography, 2em. And then now I have this style on here. And then I click here. No, wait. Export ID styles to class.
Yeah.
And then I just type a class name and boom. I've just exported the thing to a class. So that's AT as well. And I want to give this a min width. I think I gave it 50 pixels. Or was it just a fixed width? 5 rem. Let's see in the front end.
Well, we convinced Evan. He's buying AT.
Yeah, buying AT now. Is the LTD still on?
I don't know. Go scoop
still get it for a lifetime. Yeah, he's doing that. So if you guys want to buy AT, do it now, because Maxime is doing this he started on the 12th and originally only wanted to do it for a week. So probably tomorrow or something it ends. Yeah. So we need the picture here, the logo. Select image. Wait, did I miss it? Did I not see it?
Yeah, right there.
This is the one, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And the height is 70. And the width is auto. And then if you do this, actually, you set a height and then auto width. On Safari on iPhones, it squeezes, it squishes. And you need to, I think you need to align self. You need to do this, which is a workaround for that bug. I might be wrong. Wait, am I wrong? Let's center it. I think I wrote it down. Hang on, I wrote it down on my wiki. It's just a little tidbit that I learned the hard way. So if this helps anybody, I'm happy. Let me just look it up.
Yeah, skating. I did buy it. I got that LTD, scooped it up. I honestly haven't installed it yet, but I need Maddie, I need Brendan, I need everyone there. Yeah. Maybe we'll have an AT live stream one day. You guys can just tell me what to do.
I don't mind doing that for sure. So I'm looking for development. Yeah. I wrote this down somewhere.
Let me see my notes here if we missed anything on my end.
That's notes for Bricks Builder. So I have this little wiki that I started
Ooh.
10 years ago on Fandom
Ooh.
when it was still Wikia. And so in here, there's Safari stretching images when using height or width auto. And depending on whether you set height to auto or width to auto, you need different workarounds for that. So I can post this in the chat in case anybody's interested. So back to Taylor. So this is pretty much it. I mean, obviously we're not doing mobile responsive design now, which is something we discussed. Like, should we perhaps do another stream where we optimize these things for mobile? Could be an interesting one. Bricks nav menu, I think, is a bit odd with its default settings because it has this 30 pixel thing on the left, which makes no sense, because why not just put a gap here to begin with? Like, why do I have to do this? Anyway. So if I wanted to, I can just put here, like, I think it's an LI. Not ideal. Okay, now probably I have to do a bunch of trickery to get them to line up, but that's technically, with a bunch of more CSS, how I would just put in these slashes, right? And I just write an
that is a weird thing. There's no way that was custom. It's just gotta be like a thing that maybe you could do, like a cadence.
Not first child. Yeah, no, I don't have it on the first child, and this is how I would get them in here.
Is that a display thing?
All I need to.
Is that a display issue? Maybe. Is it like a
display? I'm not sure why they. Yeah, I'm not sure why they do that. I think it'd be a waste of time now to try and figure it out. If we breeze through this and we have some time left, we can go back to it.
Interesting.
So this is the header, and then close this, and now we go build the whole thing. So. Wait, what did I just do? Oh, it's still the header. This is not the right one.
I think this is Michael, because it's a list, and LI by default has 30 pixels left margin.
Oh, yes. And then, okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's why. Okay, that's why there's 30 pixels. Yeah, but how do we make these slashes? I'm sure there's an obvious answer that I'm just not seeing at the moment. So
yeah, let's just move through probably the build part.
Yeah, I'm gonna just delete this shit, and we put in a section, and into that section in the container we put 2 blocks. Yeah, and then this is pretty straightforward, really. Like, the first block is gonna get a heading, and a basic text, and a button, and the second block is going to be a picture. And since we don't want her head to be cut off, we're actually putting in an actual image. And I'm not going to name these now, but technically, if you were to do this right, you would name them. Also, another thing is nice. AT highlights the parents. Like, if I click here, this is blue now, right? These are all the parents, right? And then if I go here, now only these are blue, right? If I go here, then these two are blue. Cool, and then if I put a class on this, let's just put whatever class on this, clickable parent, and I put the same class on this, then it tells me which other elements have the same class.
Wow.
Okay, so the container is going to be a grid 3. These are just, no, grid 2. Actually, no, I wanted to do, yeah. So in advanced themer, if you go here, AT theme settings, you can make yourself some grid classes. Come on. How the server goes tits up.
Do you have, are you saying you did that yourself then? You made the grid classes yourself?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward because it gives you a nice UI for it. Okay, here we go. You go to CSS classes, grid utility classes, and then you can tell it grid 1, 2, 3. You wanna tell them what gap you want, how many columns you want, and you just give it a min call width, so that it automatically breaks.
Interesting. Okay, so it's not a obviously it's not a framework like everybody sometimes misconceives.
It's
But
it's definitely not a framework.
But it gives you almost gives you
allows
tools
you
to build your own framework.
That's it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Like depending on how much time you want to invest, you can build a whole framework.
That's cool. Max seems a
But
genius.
still, it's not. I mean, if you want a real nice framework, then use ACSS or Core, right? Like,
Yeah, you can use them
always
together.
better than building your own stuff.
Yeah,
because they thought of everything you haven't even considered yet.
Yeah.
Display flex to the before. Yeah. We'll get back to it. We'll revisit this if we have some time. Okay, so the container is going to be a grid. It's going to be min-max 0.1.5 FR, I think I did, and min-max 0.2 FR. Yeah, for what it's worth, it's fine. Then the section, call this intro, is going to be... You can import your framework into AT2, just then you don't have to. Yeah, true.
Very cool. I'm learning.
I think then I gave the block just ADVH. Right. And bottom center. I'm going to center this, cross out T's, dot RIs. Sound is still okay? Even if I'm just mumbling?
No, you're good, yeah. Okay. I was sitting thinking why you did the VH thing, but I was wondering why you did the view height thing specifically, but I mean, I guess it makes sense.
Why wouldn't I?
Well, when you throw that image in there.
Oh, right. Yeah, because the image then is going to get cropped.
It's not an object fit, so you just want it to be like wide. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's it. Yeah, because, I remember. You're right. That's better. Let's just put the image in. I think when I built this first, I wasn't considering what we found out today during the stream, that the image actually is an actual image. Yeah. So I was so bent on showcasing that Beaver Builder won't let you put in background image on a box. In my rage, I just forgot. So do we need to? Probably 768 is still enough. Although it extends to the edges of the screen, so we might as well use the full picture. And here in the intro, the container actually, do we even need the, I think the container is not even necessary. I mean, it's here now, but wouldn't really.
I feel like, I don't know if that's best practice or not, but in this case specifically, if we were actually trying to build this, wouldn't you somehow like do a clickable parent or something because of the way that weirdness is set up? We don't need to do that. We don't need to do it, but like on her website, you can literally click in the white space and like, you get the button.
Right. Put a big link over it.
I would probably use the container maybe to set that somehow, perhaps, but we don't.
Oh, yeah, perhaps.
Just a little weird.
But then no, you could just put it before.
Skating, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate
you. Thank you.
See you soon. Spread some page builder love for sure.
We are. So let's just say we're going to build it like this now, but I think we can get rid of the container. I don't think we need it. I think what you can do is you can just put an A in here somewhere, just one single link, and then you put a clickable class, clickable parent class on this, and then you're good.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like the button, for instance, would be right, because here, like if you, no matter where you click, it's the same. Yeah, it's the same. So you could just use this. You could just use a clickable parent. Nice. Do you want me to explain the clickable parent? Watch Kevin's videos. This is a good plug for Kevin's videos. Just watch Kevin Gear.
Yeah. Clickable parent.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just want to go through the sections too. I mean.
Yeah, exactly. So the block is going to get a gap, a row gap, of 2, No, I did space S, and then whatever tortured ports. Actually, let me just put the whole thing in here.
How many times
for
have you
now.
listened to this album already, Maddie?
Not as much as your wife.
Oh,
I say like 5 times or something.
no way. 5 times on repeat, crying.
On repeat, day in, day out. A couple other cool albums. There was a new Pearl Jam album on the same day, and it's really good. It's really good. Dark Matter.
That's funny.
Stream download. I will say though, in the tortured ports department, she's done better.
It's not
But
a
it
bad
grows
word.
it grows on you. It's nice.
Now we're really gonna piss the Swifties off.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is it, man. We're fucked.
Steven, appreciate you being here, man. Yes, sir. Yeah, it's been a marathon. If you're just joining in, yeah, we did to recap as Maddie's building bricks here, building the Taylor Swift website with bricks. We did kind of like first 15 or so was kind of just like background and things like that, and then for about a half an hour, Maddie did the same thing that you're seeing now in Beaver Builder, and then kind of showed off like ultimately what that would look like in a finished project there to a certain degree, like with the different pieces and things, because there are some challenging bits, especially for like I would say even more visual builders like Divi Bricks or Divi Beaver Builder, Elementor, stuff like that. Second half hour, I took a stab at it with Elementor, and then also showed off the finished product that I'd done off camera prior to the stream, and now we're doing the same in bricks. Maddie is going to town on this layout with AT bricks, AT, and then some other plugins as well, but mainly benefiting extremely from the tools and add-ons that AT provides in the bricks ecosystem. So I may have to install my license and start playing with AT. It's kind of what I'm getting out of this as well.
Before I built this other shit, like this is pretty straightforward. It's not that hard to build. Like you put in an H2 here, make the container flex, and then this is the same as we built up here, right? You just put in a div and give it the class and you're done. Then you put a button in here. And then these cards are just cards, right? But if we have time, we'll get to them. And then a bit later, we're going to talk about this as well. But one thing I want to talk about is how do we make this effect, right?
Yeah.
The hover effect. So here's how I did that. First of all, we do whatever styling we need for the buttons as global styling. In here in settings, theme styles, we go to element button. Actually, before we even do that, we're going to go typography. I mentioned when I did Beaver Builder, I talked to you guys about how I implement custom fonts in bricks. So you go to webfontloader.altman.de. That's Matthias Altman. He's a legend in the Oxygen and now in the Bricks group as well. And he built this thing. And it's, if you read through Why Another Web Font Loader, you might want to read this. It's really nice because he goes into some technical details how this is superior to the other one that had the helper that we used earlier. So basically, you go here, you find the font you want, you download it, and then he gives you a script, and you can either install that as a plugin, or what I did is, where's the dashboard? I just put it in WP Codebox, and you go here to MA Custom Fonts, and you just put that PHP script in here. Then the only other thing you need to do is he gives you, like, you download the zip file here, like whatever font you want, and you put that in a folder, like just using FileZilla or whatnot. You put that in WP Contents /upload/fonts, extract it in there, and boom, that's it. Like if I now go to typography and to body, and then the font is just here. There it is.
Right. Cool.
So this is really nice. So for the whole body, we need this font, which is pretty much almost the same as the one they use here. And then there's a couple of instances where where they're using this sort of monospace thing. So I'm just going to make a class for this. I'm going to call it monospace. And then here in typography, I give it the monospace font, which is the Noto Sans mono. And while we're here, typography, uppercase, monospace, I'm going to lock this. So, and then for buttons, it's going to use the monospace font as well, right? With a bunch of letter spacing too. So we go to, I'm not seeing it. Where is it? There.
Yep.
Usually it's under your mouse cursor if you're not seeing it. What I
can't
learned.
see it.
Font family, Noto Sans mono.
Uppercase.
And it's going to be uppercase, and it's going to have a little bit of letter spacing. 0.2 EM should be fine. And then by default, if you put a button, it's set to style primary, right? That's what Bricks pre-selects for you. So we're going to go here, themes, styles, back to buttons. And so we're going to go to style primary. Background color is going to be transparent. And it's going to get a border of 1 pixel and solid and this. Yeah. So now Control P. Yeah. This is our button, but we don't have the effect on it, right? Now I'm going to link it to external URL. Oops, no. Whatever. And now I give this, wait, where's the padding come from? Was that there just now? Okay, this is weird. As soon as I put a link on it, I mean, okay. Doesn't matter.
That's weird. Inconsequential.
I'm going to call it Tailor button. And we're going to give it layout. I'm going to go to position relative. And I need to drink some tea.
I'm very excited to see how you do this because I struggle with button styling. I need to do a whole course.
Yeah. And probably there's other ways of doing this than the way I'm doing it now. Also, I might have to peek into my local installation on my other screen to see how exactly I did it, because I'm probably going to stumble here. Right. So did I select it before? Did I? Yeah, I did. Okay. Speaking of AT, another thing that I just love about it, and that Oxygen actually had, and I was missing it from from Bricks, is that if you have a class, it gives you this little edge here, right? And if you have styles on the ID level, it gives you this. Right? So it tells you immediately, are you styling on class or ID level or both?
That's cool.
And also, like if I go, let's say, to this basic text thing here, I can see if I click on this class. Wait. I believe it should be telling me. Yeah, it changes color, so it tells me, yeah, you styled this on the ID level, right? So that's really nice. Like here, it would be blue, I think. Something. Yeah, whatever. You guys can figure it out yourself.
Yeah. Lots of quality of life improvements.
Exactly. So what do we do with Taylor's button here? Before. And I want to give it a back. Okay, now, first of all, I want to make it position absolute. F0000. Also, is there an inset? Is that a thing here? That's one thing that's actually missing from, because I could just have said inset 0 and that would do it. I mean, it's the same thing, but I think it's missing from the controls. We go to background. Our action. Yeah, this is my semi-transparent action thing. Oh God, my brain is freezing.
Is there, how do you actually make that happen? Is it a transform type thing or something? Like I can't remember.
Well,
Is there-
basically, this is going to be, but for now to just test it, it's going to be 0. But you just turn the
Oh,
lines to 100,
okay.
right?
Okay.
And then it just slips out.
Is that on?
Okay, I'm going to need to peek how I did this because right now I'm not. I should be seeing the background right now.
Is that on
Is
hover?
Bricks just
That you change it to 100?
yeah.
Yeah.
No. See what the people say in the chat.
I think it's
okay so far.
Do you have your local one?
Yeah. I'm going to look it up. Intro block button. So,
what is the technical name for this? Is this an animation, or is this just a? I guess probably not.
It's a hover animation, I guess, right?
I don't know. I'm used to like the idea of like the shit like growing or shrinking or whatever, and I know that these other builders always call it like animations, but like that's not really. Which I guess maybe it's
Isn't that? I think it is. It's animations. I might be wrong. I think.
I don't know.
CSS animations. See if you can Google it and see what you get.
Yeah. This is a case. Let's see what Marco says.
Of my knowledge.
Where using just a CSS field makes life easier than stumbling around these panels. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's true. Yeah, Marco, you're completely right. And I was tempted to do that, but I kind of want to show bricks.
Yeah, that's a good point. Everything's in one place.
Yeah,
that would be like, that's like a really interesting thought of just like where do you draw the line? Because obviously everything we're doing here we could just do as CSS.
You could just write it, yeah.
But like
and Kevin is a big proponent of that. He just says just write it.
Like where do you? At what point do you say, fuck these panels? I'm just gonna go CSS. Obviously, in this case, maybe, but like, I feel like for somebody that would be newer, like where do you tell them that that's the case? I may have to eat a snack.
Wait, we're not on the before, are we? Wait. Okay. Works better if I activate the before. So this needs to be 100 and this needs to be 100. Wait, what the fuck am I doing wrong? Otherwise, I'm just going to show you guys.
Yeah.
If I don't get it done in a moment, then
hover effect.
Hover effect. Yeah.
Okay, you can probably just show the local one. If you have
thing
it.
is, what I'm doing is exactly the same thing as I did on the local one, so I'm not really sure why it's not working.
Is there another? The part that I would need clarity on is do you even need before, or would you just style it like that on the regular one?
Well, the thing is, you want the before to be here, and then when you hover, you want it to slide in.
I think
it's just a builder UI, and I throw them in the custom CSS panel. Yeah, you're right. The OpenAI AT write better CSS than me. A lot of
that's a great. Yeah. Oh my god, I should do that. Animations generally fly
in, fade ins. Yeah.
Good point. Cool.
Okay. If I don't have it in the next 2-3 minutes, then 4 or 5 minutes, then I'm giving up.
I guess it's not the point.
Clearly, I did get it to work.
CSS writing. Well, not really, because this is a page builder thing, actually. So
it's part of it. It's part of it. I mean, it's part of our workflow, and we're showing our workflow. So there's a case here. But what it should be doing now, correct me if I'm wrong, I put the before on, gave it 100, 100, absolute, all these are zeros, and I gave it a background color. So I should see the background color, shouldn't I? Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, my God. Okay, so the before is minus, in case anybody's watching on a cell phone or something, I forgot to put a double quotation marks in the content. So right, minus 100%. Okay. And now it should be no, left, of course, is 100 minus 100. Right is 0. Left is minus 100%. Why do I still need to make it width 100? If I don't, then it extends into the thing, right? I want it to be as wide as this. So now we have it sitting here. And I want it to come in when I hover. So what I need to do next is I think I can leave the before. First of all, I don't want it visible here. So I go to overflow hidden.
Yeah, it's lower.
You see it?
Right there on your mouse.
Under the mouse. And I just tried, and this is where I wrote a bit of CSS, because I tried tinkering with hover and before, and it didn't really work. So left 0. Come on. Right. And now all we need is the transition and we're good. Where are the transitions? Filters, transitions. All 0.2 seconds is in. Oh, wait, the transition needs to be on the before.
Look at that.
See, this is how we built that.
Holy shit.
Oh, this is how I did it. And then do we want to do, we may as well do the cards real quick. Yeah. What time is it? 27.
About 10 minutes.
We got about 10 minutes.
10, 15 max.
And let's use those 10 minutes to talk about these guys here. So first of all, on my local install, I'm pretty sure I ran into a bug, a Bricks bug, because, no, it is this. I gave this a class here, right? I renamed it to new class, but it was originally called promo card, right? And then I basically, well, first of all, I styled all of this on the ID level, right? And then I called it promo card image heading button. And then I used right click class converter, which is pretty much AutoBAM. So it's the same thing. I think it has a couple different features than AutoBAM, but it does the same thing. So it created all these classes for me. And like inside the builder, this looks fine, right? Like this is centered. I got the borders around the class. Everything's hunky-dory. But as soon as I open this in the front end, the class just doesn't have any styles. Like the class is there. By the way, Linux, what I love about Linux Mint is I middle click on this and automatically it stays on top.
Wow.
I don't know any other OS that does that. So you can see that the class is here, new class, but it just doesn't have any styles. It's just not there. And I tried renaming it. I tried deleting it and redoing it from scratch. I tried even putting it on a different element and it just wouldn't work.
Weird.
So I don't know what that is. I regenerated the CSS. I set it from inline to external and back to inline, which I usually have, and nothing worked. So yeah, probably a bug. How did I build these guys?
Yeah.
Here's how they work. Also, another thing, this isn't displayed properly in the builder, but as soon as you look at it here, it's fine. So the basic functionality is there. They're not in a slider, so you would probably next stick them in a nestable slider, and then also use CPTs to pull in the dynamic data. But I just link them, and if I click, I get the video, right? So that's projects. Another thing I like to do is if I press Shift Alt left right in the structure panel, it should work, but it doesn't. Then you can move around. Was it Control Shift? Yeah, it was Control Shift.
Oh.
Left right moves to children and parents, and Control Shift up down moves to siblings.
Damn.
Not many people know that. That was a Trump line. Not many people know that.
Build your own custom Gutenberg block. We got to get somebody to do that on the next stream.
Yeah, sometimes you need to write your own custom CSS. Yeah, any builder. Of course, you're going to hit the limitations at some point.
Yeah, 100%. Nice.
But I think, at least for me, it's fairly obvious why Bricks is just far superior. I'm so happy with it.
Got a lot of control.
Like, it's, I guess, it's really different strokes for different folks. There's people who love other builders, and that's perfectly fine. They have different requirements. Like, I, for instance, would never use a template for anything. Like, I just want to build my own shit. I want to be creative. I want to create, and I want to have that freedom to create what I want, and that's what Bricks gives me, right?
Yeah.
Video card. So I made the card. Again, BEM class is here. I put the thumbnail in, I put an overlay in, and I put the play in. And these are just, this is relative, and all three of these are just absolutely positioned. So they're on top of each other. So the thumbnail is just an image, and it's got absolute positioning. Let me unlock this. Right. I didn't even do much with that. Oh yeah, because it has its own image object fit cover class. So this is a utility class that I just have in my builds, where it sets it to 100, position absolute, and then object fit cover. That way it will behave like as if it was a background image, but I can give it a metadata, for instance, or area labels and stuff, like, because it's an actual image, and search engines will see it differently. So I just put that image class on there, and then the thumb class doesn't even have anything, I think. Fair enough. And then the overlay, I set it to opacity 0. Let's go to the opacity layout, opacity. If I give it opacity 1. So this is the overlay. And it's got a normal rich text thing in it. And the text thing has a bunch of typography styling, so it fits nicely. And the overlay itself is, yeah, it has some padding. Then absolute, top right, all zeros, and opacity 0, right?
Yeah. This is a lot more straightforward in like a Bricks. Right. Because, like, you don't have to try to use a element. And even if you weren't trying to use an element, I mean, you could probably put together something that would, like, you know, absolutely position and all that, but just it's not really meant to build like that, you know, like an Elementor Beaver Builder. So for stuff like this specifically, yeah, it's either deal with whatever the pre-made element gives you, or, you know, just, I don't know, weird.
Well, I finished it off with just this video card then gets a bunch of CSS root hover. So the root variable just basically is a placeholder for the name of the class that you're on, or ID if you're on ID level. And then since we're using BEM, I can just put this same variable here and then just put overlay there. So basically we have video card hover, video card overlay, and then obviously it just becomes opacity 1. And the last thing I did was the play button. I don't think I didn't use any Z-index. I just put them in the right order, and they're fine. So the play button is just an SVG, an icon. I think it's from Font Awesome, and I linked it to the URL. And then I gave the parent the clickable parent class, and this is how this works. Right.
Very nice.
Nice. I think that sums it up. That sums up as how far I got with this thing.
Love it. Wow.
Let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, what a run there. Jeez. Okay.
It is so much fun. It really is.
I'm gonna switch over to here for now. If we go back, we can. But let's do kind of a wrap up here. What do we think? How do we all think this went? Did you guys get some value out of this? Obviously, this was our first one, so be gentle. But I think it was, honestly, in my opinion, from seeing it, I learned a hell of a lot about Bricks. I learned a hell of a lot about Beaver Builder. Tried to do my best to kind of educate you guys on the Elementor side of things.
I love the insight on Elementor.
I mean, there's a lot of good takeaways from these different builders. You know, it really depends on your goals, though. You know, you can't really just shout from the mountains and say this builder is the best, whatever. I mean, for some people, Bricks is the best. For some people, Elementor is their tool of choice, and it makes sense for them. But if you don't know about the other builders, the pros, the cons, and just seeing people deal with them, then it's I feel like it's tough to make a judgment call that's actually truthful and honest. So we're trying to do that. Hopefully we succeeded to some degree. Yeah, Maddie, what do you think? High level stuff.
You said it.
Said it. Okay. Well, the other thing, go ahead.
We do have a couple closing thoughts on like things that we prepared to ask whoever remains.
Yeah.
It's first of all, people are still around. This is nice. 14 people still.
Appreciate you.
Thank you very, very much. Yeah. Give yourselves a hand. We're wondering where do we go from here? Like, well, I think the obvious users can learn from other builders in the band advance. Exactly. Yeah. I think the rising tide lifts all ships thing applies here, right? Like the more people know what other people like builders are doing. Thank you so much. German engineering. Yeah. I'm a Virgo too, so that amplifies it even more. So yeah, like first of all, we should get other people on board. Like we step back, we take a moderator type of role, and we have 3 people from, I don't know, again, Elementor, Oxygen, and Breakdance, for instance. And then we build a different website or the same website. Doesn't matter. The question is, do we repeat this in clean environments? Like, do we try next time to rebuild it, but only with bricks, with no other add-ons installed? The other question is, who wants to come on? Like, can you guys recommend anybody? Do you want to come on? I know we have Ruben already, who said he'd be interested, and yeah, I'd be first in line to have him on.
I would love to moderate the whole time. That would be so awesome.
Oh yeah,
building live is tough, man. You saw it here. It's not easy. I give a lot of people credit, especially the guys that are over in doing Jamie's challenge too. That's fast.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yep. So appreciate you guys here. Got some comments.
See, well done. Thanks for reminding people that there are many options. Best is very subjective.
100%. Simply bashing builder. We point out some flaws and potential solutions. Yeah, definitely. That's the goal there. I mean, we all have preferences and opinions. I think it's important, but you can't just like, there's more to it. You gotta be honest about it. Clean builders without add-ons. Yeah, I do think there's definitely something there, especially when people think about appreciate you for being here, Paul. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Interesting to see breakdance. I want to go back to this real quick for Marco. The clean builder thing. I think that there is there's a picture that you paint anytime that you make content on the internet about this. For instance, like if I am building, right, when Maddie goes through his stack in the beginning, he does a good job of explaining it all. But the thing is, then you watch like Maddie build in bricks, and he's doing a lot of cool shit, and we're talking about AT a lot, but that is a $400 tool at LTD life right now. We have a separate conversation on what you should invest in your business, whatever. But the point is that when you use a clean setup versus a packed setup with add-ons, there is a realistic difference there in efficiency, the amount of things you have at your disposal, and ultimately the buy-in for that. So if we're looking at, if we're talking to people that are using Elementor and we're talking about bricks and they're interested in bricks, we always need to be honest with like what we're actually using and how much and what it takes to get into that system too. Like not just the learning curve, but also the investment. So try to do that as much as possible. And there's, you can do it whatever way you want, but definitely got to be upfront about what you're using. So yeah, I think so for sure. Dude, Maddie, this has been great, man. Appreciate you again. This was great idea on your part. I think that everybody got value out of this. And would love to do it again. Hit us up, guys. Also, Maddie, I know you're redoing your channel now. Do you want to send the people over to your personal channel, brand channel? What do you got there? Where can people follow you specifically if they haven't seen?
Just click on my mug. There's nothing there really right now. I have 2 channels. I have Brand Artery, which is my one-man sort of small agency. I mostly publish stuff there for my clients. Like I explain basic SEO to them and like responsive design. I explain them why this doesn't work and why this is a bad idea. Just so I don't have to answer the same questions all the time. So it's not really, yeah, but it's the only channel that I've really actually put any content on so far in my life.
Yeah.
If I find some time, like for instance, if I sell my kid, I will have more time to. It's really a question of time, but there's a ton of ideas in my head about things that I want to do on a channel to help the community on my personal channel. Then, like, I would just still keep using the agency channel for customer facing content, and then do a bunch of stuff that might help the community, or just perhaps start conversations on my own channel. Right now, there's nothing, but if time permits, I will hopefully start posting a bunch of stuff there. So do feel free to subscribe. It would be nice to see you there. I also want to give another shout out to Jamie Marsland. And I'm just going to post the link again. You guys might want to bookmark that. It's tomorrow at 9 German time. So it's like 3 p.m.
3 p.m. Eastern.
I think it's 3 p.m. Eastern. There's the link.
Yeah. Drop the link.
Wait. Oh, shit. I'm not allowed to post it. I think people won't see that.
I got it.
Yeah, you got to post it.
There you go.
Yeah. So basically what he's doing is he's sort of some a bit similar to what we're doing. He invites two people to build a website in 30 minutes. And it's sort of like who can get to the finish line faster and how far can they get faster. And so it's different from ours because we want to give each builder some time to, show it off and have a discussion about it. Whereas this is more like a game show. And he had the first episode last Friday, next one's tomorrow. And I thought it was awesome. So it's a really nice watch.
Yeah, definitely a great watch.
Yeah. I think the next one question that remains for me is today it was 9 a.m. EST and 3 p.m. CET. Does that work for everybody? It turns out, I mean, we're getting pretty close to 3 hours now. I would expect future streams to be somewhere near as long. But I know that 9 a.m. EST is probably when you guys start working. So you might not be, you might be busy like answering clients' emails or something. So let us know if another time works better.
Yeah, today was a time restriction on my part. I got to hop on a podcast here at noon. But
3 hours is the max anyway.
Yeah, it's a marathon.
More than that.
We're on a marathon. So, but yeah, let us know feedback, comments, share this out with other people. See if you think, see if they like it. Again, we need more people for different builders. We need feedback on whether you like this format, if you would change anything. I know I saw a comment from Marco here about like building just pieces of sites rather than like whole pages. 100%. It takes time. Like we're trying to do crazy amount of stuff here in like a 3-hour window. We know these things obviously take a lot longer. So it's something to think about there. Maybe just simple components almost from different sites, sections and stuff would be definitely a cool thing. We're open to it. This is a new thing. And I think if you guys are getting value from it, we're happy to continue, even in that moderator role when we have other builders and things. I would love that personally. So, any other final comments here? Scared to do a live stream, just hop on. You know what I mean? Yeah. I would say just hop on.
Totally do, man. It's
just gotta
you're gonna I mean, if you like, the one thing I would say is if you want to hop on, if you want to do a live stream, we'll give you the thing and you build it beforehand, because this really helped us a lot. Like at first we were like, should we just build it right there? But I don't think that would have provided much value because like we did run into things that we had to figure out, right?
Yeah.
And in order to show them off, you need to figure it out beforehand.
100%. Yeah. Mars game show was interesting. Appreciate you guys talking about the hard edge cases also instead of rushing and doing the low hanging fruits only. Yeah. I mean, that's honestly, that's the big thing. Those cases there are really, I feel like, where you do see the difference between like an Elementor, Bricks, Beaver Builder, breakdowns, whatever it is, good or bad. Those are the things where it's like, you're literally going to be 90% through a project in Elementor, and then you're going to get to that and you'll be like, shit, how do I do this? How do I do it? Whatever.
It's Crockford's law.
Yeah. And I mean, you could do it, but you need to know like what it's going to take to actually get to the finish line with this builder versus this builder versus this builder, because Bricks isn't necessarily like better per se at that. you can like, you have more control, but you still need to know how to do it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't solve that problem for you. Like you still need to figure out how to do it. So it's just what you want to do and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so I don't know, man.
Okay.
Matty, this has been great, brother. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, man.
Peace, folks.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
See you soon.
Talk to you.